We back. Close.
Man,
it didn't feel like we took a week, but then again, you were in a whole new world.
I have no idea what day it is or what's going on.
We made it. We're back though. And you said you were going to be coming in hot. We knew this.
Yeah.
We knew this. We dismantled some of the studio, brought some studios pieces back, some not back yet, but we got enough to run a show. It's like a lawnmower, man. We just give it that third yank, and then we just started cranking.
Yeah. By the way, when we saw Lawnmower Man, did we mention how much Jeff Fahey is Chris Pine rejuvenated?
We did talk about that.
I mean, the reverse.
It was the reverse. You made me not unsee Jeff Fahey as Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. I can't not see that every time now. You make my eyes rain. I can't unsee it now. I never saw that before. Oh, and speaking of that too, Ben Stiller, no regrets. He said it. He has no regrets. We were talking about how maybe comedy, you have a theory about comedy may be dead or currently taking a hiatus.
Yeah,
because a lot of people won't do it.
It went out for cigarettes and never came back.
But yeah, Ben Stiller's like, you know what? I have no regrets on making Tropic Thunder, and I would make it the exact same way.
Yeah, the Tropic Thunder is a great movie. It's perfect.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Don't change a thing.
I told you the story about Tropic Thunder, right?
Which story?
About Mike Judge and Tropic Thunder story?
No.
So Mike Judge was writing Idiocracy at the same time that what's his name? He was dating Jennifer Aniston, who wrote Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, they were. He said, "Hey, can you help me write this?" He's like, "Sure." Mike Judge is like, "I will help you write Tropic Thunder if you help me write Idiocracy." And he said, "Deal." And only half that deal happened. But it makes you wonder: is that why Tropic Thunder is standing the test of time? Because Mike Judge is the master of making cult favorites.
And he's the master satirist of our time.
Yeah.
He's like the Mark Twain of our time.
Yes.
What he's done.
With his scary predictions.
Yeah.
But I thought about that scene of when he's like, that's the theme from the Jeffersons. And I was like, That's a Mike Judge joke. That's totally a Mike Judge joke.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike Judge. I don't feel like he would like he knew us, but I don't know if he would be like, oh hey, he'd be like, I know these guys. But you're getting
You
that
do know
now.
him personally.
I do. Yeah, well, we can show you the fiction pictures with Mike Judge in our social media update.
That's coming up. Stay tuned for our
the social media.
It's a great segment. We show you our
yes. But speaking of being mistaken from doppelgangers, we always talk about the Vincent D'Onofrio, Mark Ruffalo, but you're getting one a lot lately.
Yeah.
Like, a lot. And then you were just in Chicago and you were getting it there.
Yeah. So apparently, I bear a striking resemblance to actor from Sons of Anarchy. Actually, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Mark Boone
Junior.
Junior, MBJ.
In the edit, put a picture of him here.
Yes.
Put it next to my face, okay, right here.
Insert Mark Boone picture.
And
here.
then, so I got that twice on the way to Chicago and in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I've heard it before. I've been hearing it for a while. Like literally, everybody in my family's been saying it for a while. And like, I never saw Sons of Anarchy. Just never made it into my playlist, so
no.
I'm a little behind on that. But yeah, it's happening more and more. So yeah, I just go with it. One guy's like came up, whispered in my ear, "It's like you're Mark Boone Jr." And I just was like, "Yeah, don't tell anybody. Man. I'm good. I'm just hanging out. Thanks, bro. Let me sign your arm.
Hey, can you buy me a drink?
How about a drink for your favorite character actor?"
Like JJ, it just hit JJ now too. Now he's not going to unsee it. Like the FedEx arrow. Once you see it, you'll never unsee it.
Right. So yeah, it's a thing.
I like for a shoot. Like it happened like 3 days in a row. Like, and I saw it live and in person.
Oh, that's right.
She was drinking. You know, those were good margaritas, but she just kept staring at you. You know, at that point, she's like, "Are you famous?" And I just love that you just rolled with it. Like you didn't say, "Huh, me?" Anything. You're like, "Yeah, did you ever watch MacGyver?" and you played the gimmick the whole time.
I was MacGyver's friend, Mark Boone Jr.
And her reaction was perfect because she had to think about it, and then she looked at me. I don't know if she was trying to confirm, and I was like, I no sold that because I was like, MacGyver. Because you rolled into it so naturally, and that's a gift, man. I'm glad you're sharing your gift with the bar patrons around the world. I am noticing the pattern that it's always at the bar.
Yeah. Well,
what the good news is, though, they're not asking you to buy drinks.
I look like a person who would be at a bar.
Yeah.
Who would frequent the bar.
You notice, though, the more famous people get, they want to buy people drinks rather than saying, "Hey, you're rich and famous. Can you buy me drinks?"
Yeah.
Like they want to.
Is that? I never would think that would be the case. Was that the thing?
That is the thing now. They're like, "Hey, I just want to buy you a drink."
Yeah.
Like my goal, like if we were ever to run into Quentin Tarantino at his church that he calls the movies at Alamo, I would like want to buy him a Royale with cheese. Just like, I don't know if he's vegan or whatever, but I would just want to say I bought Quentin Tarantino a Royale with cheese.
That would be an accomplishment.
Yeah,
for sure.
I wouldn't even ask for to autograph the receipt. I would be like looking at the little deer and Stand By Me. It's like this one's just for me.
I got to be honest. I've never understood the point of an autograph.
Well,
I mean, I know they sell them on eBay, or you can have an autographed whatever, and that makes it more valuable. But just to have an autograph, I don't see the point.
yeah, back in the day, it didn't really mean anything unless you were going to put it in like a frame. Now you know what it means. Now it knows that you're going to sign a bunch of merch and then they're going to try to sell it. You know, for kids, it was like more of like a stamp collection, coin collection. They just wanted to collect it, but I think now it's about the eBay, and it's going to end up on eBay.
And they figured it out. That's why it's $75 when someone asks,
right?
You want someone's autograph?
Yeah, no, they took away that whole thing of signing for free. Although some athletes, if you do the before or after any kind of sporting event, they'll kind of reach over and sign your merch if you reach over the fence,
Yeah.
to get it, and that's cool because to me, I'm thinking you're already there. We bought a ticket to see you. We know we're invested in you.
Yeah.
So they kind of hook them up.
Yeah.
Athletes are good like that. Athletes get a lot of, a bad rap a lot of times, but there's a lot of good ones out there that will sign it. And, before and after wrestling, that was a huge thing. I was never one like. Now you had the mid card intermission where people go in the ring, but I like the stalkers that hung out at your car. and then you sign their gear. Because
Well, you said someone fixed your tire once,
they did. They were honored to fix my tire, and I was like, it was.
and you were like happy because you were exhausted.
yeah, exhausted, tired, and it was snowing, and it was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. You know, it was after a WWE spot, so I was in enemy territory in a sense that my home territory was Texas, and the only person that I actually knew pretty steady was long gone, so I was kind of on my own. So I was like, absolutely. And then they started showing, hey, can we show you our split leg moonsault? And I was like, how are you going to bounce? They're like, oh, we just bounce on the car. I was like, can you use somebody else's car?
They fixed your tire, started jumping off of it.
Exactly. Did just start jumping on your car? Like, no, dog, that's. But yeah, that was still a fun story. Although that was scary because I wrestled the Undertaker and then almost died.
Wait, were these two connected?
No, yeah, not that he almost murdered me.
Yeah.
But I was driving in those. I don't know if you've ever been to like Pennsylvania Turnpike when it's snowing and there's no guardrails, and started doing the old fishtail gimmick and like just about to go over the edge. And then I just let out a scream like, oh, I'm done. And then just stopped. And at that point, it could have just went gong. Gong. But yeah, it was.
That's like some Final Destination kind of.
It did feel like that. I was just like, I don't even know. Maybe I'm in a different timeline. In another timeline, I did go over the edge. So, but it was good. You know, Undertaker's doing a one. What do they call an undead man show? One undead man show.
One undead man?
Yeah, he's doing a stand-up telling stories, the spoken word stuff that Mick Foley does. Undertaker's doing it now, and he's doing it around WrestleMania weekend.
Is he doing like behind the curtain stories?
Yeah, yep, BTS.
He doesn't strike me as a funny guy. Does he strike you as... You met him, so I don't know.
Met him. He's the... Do you remember the meme? And it happened in that SummerSlam match when he sat up next to Brock Lesnar and Brock started laughing, and then Undertaker did that like sarcastic laugh, but it didn't come off as natural. I feel like that's him. Like he has that funny, but he's trying not to be funny, and you're not sure if you should be laughing. But I think his stories are pretty intriguing.
Well, surely.
Yeah. And not even thinking like going back to his...
Is he coming near us? I'd like to go see that.
I would go in a second. Again, I highly recommend the Mick Foley one. The Mick Foley one was great.
You went to that one?
I did. Yeah, I did go to that one. Jim Ross never came here. That would be another one. You just got to get the people that have been around in the business so long, and they're just going to tell you.
If Cornette came to do a talk,
I would go. That. Yeah, I would be the first one in line. Well, we're going to talk, and we can even jump into that. Well, let's talk a little bit about AEW Revolution. You were traveling.
Yeah, I didn't get to.
You maybe been mid-flight.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it. I only had limited access, but
yeah,
I heard it was good.
It was good. It was good. They are back on track because we were talking about that on here, that they haven't fully recovered from the scrum ride from hell. They've really been struggling. And this was their first time. It was in San Francisco. They had a stacked card. And again, I didn't even know. I've been falling a little bit behind, so I didn't know what we were really watching, what I was getting into. But it was enough that I saw Bryan Danielson versus MJF for a 1 hour Iron Man match. And I'm like, okay, that match is going to be enough that I'll want to see that.
And good for an hour. A solid hour of wrestling entertainment.
Yeah, and out in the spoiler alert, it went more than an hour. They went into OT. They did the whole Shawn Michaels versus Brett in the tie, and they went into OT. So it was over an hour, and they delivered, man. They really did. This was a solid show.
Yeah.
But it just goes to, again, it reminds you that they still have something. They didn't lose that magical. They lost a little bit, but the spark still could be there. The embers are still there. I forgot how much I enjoy watching Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, and they had a match there, and Danhausen was so over. I mean, he got, remember the pop that the Acclaimed got when they almost won the belt the first time?
Yeah.
Danhausen got one of those pops when he went at face to face with the giant Indian that comes out with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. and Sanjay Dutt. I keep forgetting his name. He's huge. He's a huge guy. And
I want to say Omos, but that's wrong.
yeah, no, it's the same idea.
Yeah.
And man, when he came out and went face to stomach with this guy, and he went to give him the giant curse, the place went unglued. And then you thought, oh, this is a title match. They can win the title because he got a monster pop. And then they made him take the pinfall. And it's just like, wait, you just heard how much him and Orange are over. And I think those guys could be over together. They can be over separately. They're still just over. To me, the Orange Cassidy gimmick has not gotten old at all. And neither has the Danhausen.
Because people won't get tired of seeing them.
No, they won't get tired. And I just feel like they're not really taking advantage
Especially
of that.
in a live event show situation.
Yeah.
People are going to want to see Orange Cassidy live.
Oh, yeah. We've seen it. He's very cool to see. He's like nothing you've seen before.
Yeah.
When you think wrestling attraction, you think the big guys, right? Andre the Giant, Brock Lesnar. These attractions that are not full-time, so to speak, they're monsters.
Yeah.
He's not a monster, but he's still an attraction. When that music hits, you're just into it.
Yeah.
You're just so into it. So that was really good to see that. The Acclaimed are still over. You can tell Tony Khan is kind of taming down some of their rhymes. They're not as cutting as they used to be. They're a little bit more fan-friendly, but they're still way over. I'm happy with the Saraya Tony Storm angle, and a spoiler alert here if you haven't seen it, although you might be watching Dynamite right now, or you might have already watched and you're watching this later. But it was a six woman with Jamie Hayter, Saraya, and Ruby Soho, which you felt like she was way over. They stopped using her, and they did this great angle where after the pinfall, Ruby had to choose, like, who are you with? Because Britt and Jamie are apparently baby faces now, and Saraya and Tony. And then
Britt's a babyface?
Yeah, Britt's a babyface.
What?
Yes, Saraya turned heel. She's flipping people off. She's going all in.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So they set this up, and they're like, Ruby, who you're going to go with? So she throws Saraya and Tony out of the ring. She's like, no, I'm my own person. And then she did the swerve, and then she gave the kick to Jamie Hayter, and she did the Britt Baker. And it was like it was a baby version of what Hogan did when Hogan joined the NWO. And then you realize when they came in the ring, and I forgot which announcer said it, they're like, whoa. Wait, she's not an original. She didn't start here. And I'm like, oh, wow. They got Tony Storm, Saraya, and now Ruby that just came from WWE. They have like a female NWO they can do. And they were doing the green spray paint. And I was like, this is good. Like, Ruby needs this. Like, Ruby will bring huge value to this team, and I think this has a lot of potential.
Well, Ruby immediately was a babyface when she arrived. She got such a huge pop.
Oh, she was a monster.
And I think because of how great she did coming in, she struggled ever since.
Yeah.
It was only downhill from there, and they couldn't come up with anything for her to do, but I think her as a heel is great.
Yeah, this works. I love it. And JJ, Hayter was so over with the crowd, they had to turn Britt babyface because Hayter is over. She's way over.
And like Britt is in that place where she's become a babyface by default because the crowd loves her, even though she's a heel.
Yeah, she has that Roddy Piper thing.
So now they're just letting it kind of evolve.
Yeah.
You know? That sounds good. I need to get back on AEW. I've sort of like let it slide. I think, like we've talked about before on the show, the whole thing with CM Punk was just depressing.
Yeah.
And I think it depressed the viewers, it depressed the locker room, it depressed the writing. It was just such a humiliating screw up. I mean, not a whatever you want to call it. I don't know, what would you call it?
Scrum ride from hell. That's what
Scrum ride from whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was just
airing
broke.
your dirty laundry. You when you're at a party and a couple starts fighting and then they start getting personal with each other. Everybody else felt like those people watching that couple fight.
Exactly.
That's how the fans feel right now.
Right. And the fans just kind of stood there and like smiled and pretended that they were joking, gave them the benefit of the doubt that it was a joke. And, but no, I think it just turned everybody
it wasn't
off.
a joke. And we talked about this. How is Tony Khan going to capitalize this? Because it was still a piece of business. And the way he did it, I don't think he handled it like an HR incident instead of potentially making money.
Well, he comes from HR world.
Right. So
just like Wayne the Pro Wrestler was saying, you know what I mean? It would have got handled differently if it was run by a wrestler.
Yeah, 100%. So what they're doing now is like they're slowly having to get back from this. They brought the Bucks back. They brought Omega back, and they're not even acknowledging it. They acknowledged it that one time, and then that was it. And now, here's the gimmick on the scrums. The scrum gimmick now for the past 2 pay-per-views is MJF comes out unfiltered and just starts cursing and like doing an MJF after dark rated R, and then Tony Khan just kind of sits there awkward. And I think now he's trying to build it as like, well, now let's everybody just do that. It got a lot of attention, but now it feels worked on Tony's part, but not worked on MJF's part because MJF lives his gimmick. But it still feels like I don't even know if they should be doing that because it just brings reminders back of how that feels. Like he was the entire scrum. MJF was eating these pickles, kind of like Punk was doing with the cakes, the cupcakes.
I heard about this. Yeah, he was eating muffins or something.
Yeah, the muffins.
I think
he was doing it with pickles.
It's great. I think that's what to me that seems like the right approach because now you're diluting the memory of what that is by adding in this layer of making fun of it.
Yeah.
Now it's this is what Fox News does. This is the type of thing that they're doing. They're just sort of like muddying the waters. Here's what happened, and here's a version of what happened, and here's the funny version of what happened. I don't know. I think that it's smart. I like it. I need to tune back in. I'm going to get back into it.
I think you should. I mean, again, I was happy with this. I felt like, the one time where you spent it and you're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I feel good about the money I just spent. I felt okay. I felt like I got my money's worth just for that hour match. They did something really smart in this Iron Man match. This is really cool. So the idea of the Iron Man match is as many pinfalls or as many wins as you can get within that 1 hour, whether it's a pinfall, count out, DQ, or submission, right? So here's what they did. And I never thought of this before in all my years of watching wrestling and being in wrestling. And I was like, why wasn't this the finish? So MJF was down. He was losing. He all of a sudden just looks. He does something to get him. He does a low blow. He gets DQ'd. And there's no break periods. So then what does he do? He's like, okay, we're back on. Okay, go. He goes down after he just gave him the low blow. 1, 2, 3. Because he's selling the nut shot. And then what does he do again? Okay, okay, I'm gonna do it again. 1, 2, 3. So he took one fall by DQ to get 2 falls on a pin by doing a heel move. I thought that was great. I don't even understand what you said. I'm gonna have to watch it. It was so smart. It was like if they would have did this in the finish in the last 20 seconds, I would have been floored. But they still did something cool. Like at the end, for 10 seconds, it was a tie.
Yeah,
and they did it. And it's like no 10. I'm sorry, it was 1 minute.
Yeah,
and Brian couldn't get him to tap. Of course, then comes that Tony Khan says, no, we're not ending in a draw. This is going to go down to sudden death.
Yeah.
The crowd was really into it. And the way they ended it, it was felt a little deflated. Like, I don't disagree on who should have won, but I think the way it done, I think they teased a little bit too much. But like JJ says here, MJF proved that he can go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he was there was not a lot of breaks in there. He went the whole time. So
it sounds really good. I would like to watch it.
Yeah, it was again, that was a fun match. What was the other one? The Samoa Joe and Wardlow. Ricky Starks, going in there. I want to call him Little Rock. We should just call him Arkansas because he's Little Rock.
Yeah.
That would be good. Jungle Boy and Christian Cage did a last burial match because I guess they can't say casket match.
Yeah.
And then Lucha Bros and Mark Briscoe, it was good to see him on there. They got it was the pregame match. So and then John Moxley and Adam Page. Moxley bleeds a lot.
Yeah.
And you knew that was coming. So, and again, he's another one that like lives his gimmick. This isn't him. Like he likes to get in there and be bloody and do the dangerous stuff, and that's kind of what he does. So it is exactly what you expected. But it was still a solid show. I would still give it a thumbs up. Even all my critiques are all pretty minor.
Yeah. It sounds really good. I would like to watch it. I'm ready to get back AEW. I think I'm over AEW's awkward fight with their spouse at my barbecue, and they're I'm just gonna let them back in because I haven't been watching a lot of wrestling lately, and I need a little more wrestling in my life.
Oh, dude, the setup for the Bloodline is still going, and it's still great. Like I won't watch the whole 3 hours, but I will jump to anything that's Bloodline and Sami Zayn related, and I jump to it. And they had another one that was just this Monday. It turned another corner, and it was so great. But before we jump off that, I got a pitch for AEW that they may never do. But here's my pitch. Remember back in the day when ECW, Jim Cornette and Jerry the King Lawler were not fans of ECW for a shoot, not for a work. They were not fans of ECW, but they saw the opportunity to make money and to make good business. So they both showed up in the ECW arena, and the place came unglued, absolutely unglued. How would you feel if somehow that the Bucks and Omega and TK were able to make enough peace with Jim Cornette to have Jim Cornette come back with CM Punk as the anti-AEW faction?
Somebody suggested this.
Really?
Is that what? No, I'm asking.
Oh, no, I suggested this.
Oh, I think that's brilliant.
I suggested this.
I think that's brilliant. Because CM Punk is going to come back as the biggest heel in AEW history.
Yeah.
If he comes back. He'll come back.
I think
right?
he said he wants to come back and wrestle. He wants to come back.
So when he comes back, he's going to be the biggest heel in AEW history. From the pop at wherever, Chicago Arena, when he first came back, you're going to get the opposite now.
Yeah.
When he comes back, he is going to get the biggest heel heat of all time.
Yeah.
We'll get over it. We'll get over the scrum ride from hell. We've got an over worse, right?
Yeah.
And it'll eventually settle itself out. But I think he's going to be huge. You add Jim Cornette to that.
Yeah, he just comes back as his handler, and he's like, you know what? I came here because I loved professional wrestling, and I got stuck with these backyard, Circus Soleil, doing flips, doing no psychology, just basically start calling it out. Now, the Bucks and Omega would have to really, really have thick skin, and let these guys rip into him, kind of like, why does Cornette almost have 500,000 people watching him on YouTube? Because they want to hear what he says.
Yeah.
And if he's on their show saying that and willing to do business, it would repair that mistake of TK not taking advantage and making money of that scrum ride then by making it now. And then just have CM Punk start that, I hate to go back, but it's successful, that NWO faction, and like, who's with me? Have him and Cornette go back to Brian and like, Brian, you're a professional wrestler.
And oh my God. And then it can eventually build to the 4 pillar story.
Yeah.
That never happened.
Right.
And then you've got an NWO faction in both divisions.
Yeah.
Men and women.
And women.
And they're aligned. And then you've got, who is it? CM Punk. Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
Who else?
With Cornette.
John Moxley?
Moxley. I would say Moxley.
Would he do? Well, maybe he would. But you'd have that faction of ex-WWE folks.
Yeah.
And then the 4 pillars rise, led by
Jungle Boy, MJF. Yeah, MJF could be their leader
as a heel,
right? Sting could be someone that's kind of in the middle because he's lived in both worlds, but he never really made his money in WWE.
Yeah,
so he wouldn't. So they would have basically a figurehead on that side. The thing, you'd just be printing money. Those empty seats, you wouldn't have to hide them anymore.
Turn it into an
angle, finally. And you'd have to just thicken. Those guys would have to thicken their skin.
You know what? It's almost better that there was this time for it to simmer. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like I think if you're right, a smart wrestling person would have jumped into it right off the bat. But with the fact that now it's gone awkwardly long, it could be even better.
Yeah, I agree. As long as if that delivery happens, because people are going to lose it. There's going to be some people that don't know what to do when Punk comes back, because Mark Henry came out on Busted Open Radio. He's like, I want Punk to come back. I think he's good for wrestling. He gets eyes on wrestling. But then on the other side, you have Seth Rollins that's like, stay away from wrestling. You're a cancer, Phil. Nobody likes you. You're an a-hole. That just would add to this entire angle.
And all of a sudden, CM Punk is wrestling as Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just let him go. Yeah, we haven't seen that end across men and women. Just give him a hot mic with Cornette. Now, here's the thing. Cornette is a mouthpiece for somebody who can't talk, but Punk doesn't need a mouthpiece. But I think both of them having that heat together, oh my God, it would be so good. It would be so good. And just kind of give them a little bit, loosen the leash a little bit and let them go a little far. I think
Punk does need a mouthpiece. I think it fits. I think it's appropriate because it's his mouth that got him in trouble.
Yeah.
So now he hands over that to someone else.
Yeah.
He'll still do stuff and he'll still talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
But someone else does his business.
I agree. Yeah, that could be it. It's just like, know what? I said what I need to say. I'm not going to say anymore. So I got somebody who's going to say what needs to be said.
It's like when you have an agent, your agent's the one who argues for money, right?
That's perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect scenario. Perfect comparison.
Yeah.
I'm here to fight. I'm not here to talk. He'll talk.
I'll fight. I'm paid to do this person's dirty work. That's my job.
Oh, man. It could be so
it's nothing
good.
Personal. I'm just telling you what is.
I just don't know the heat, the history of the heat between the Bucks and Cornette.
Well, I mean,
and Omega, other than I know he goes nuts over the non-psychology stuff that they do.
Well, I mean, it's just like when I was telling you the other night about Creed. I just love when the fighters make amends.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that would be, hey, time passes, time heals everything. Money's cool. We all like money, so maybe it could happen.
Matt Hardy is there, and he's a perfect. I mean, he did this when the internet was all you had was blogs and websites. He found a way that when he found out that Edge was having an affair with Lita, like for a shoot on the road, but they were together, and then he got fired. They all found a way to still work together and make money.
Yeah,
and just turn that into money.
Personal issues, pal.
That's what sells. So. I just don't know if it'll ever happen because honestly, the least memorable stuff for me, on that show was the Bucks and Omega stuff. They lost the trios title to the House of Black.
Yeah,
but I love the theme music, and I do see the issues you have with the psychology you have, but it's not like I'm going to change the channel when they're on. But I would love to see how they reacted when they started getting called out on it on live TV, and how are they going to shoot back? Let them shoot back.
Yeah, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. I think it will happen.
He said he's coming back.
Can I ask you this? Who is behind the scenes helping now?
I think TK is the only one officially with the pencil.
But I mean, we used to have Cody Rhodes back there. We used to have Regal back there. Who's helping him out?
So Jericho's one of them. Jericho's helping on some of the matches, but the thing with Jericho is he's still helping on his own stuff just as much as he's helping with the other stuff. So he can't get all the stuff. And what a great person to have. I mean, that guy finds a way. People are getting a little burnt out on him right now, I think, but forgetting how good he really is and how good he is for the business. I mean, that Rock and Rager wrestling tour every year gives me FOMO. Every year I see that, and I'm like, damn, he really gives back to the business, and he's a great hand to have in the back, a great mind to have in the back, but he still can go in the ring. And I think and he's putting people over. So I don't understand why he's getting the heat that he is. He's trying to give the rub to get all these young guys over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just he's on it a lot, right? I
mean,
isn't that really it? He's on it all the time. And there's rarely a time where he's not. Since the beginning of AEW, there's never been a time where he is not a feature.
And he's known when to take the breaks before in the past.
Yeah,
and he hasn't taken one of those breaks.
I mean, he's at the twilight of his career here.
Yeah,
probably he's only going to work for a few more years. So I don't think you want to miss a single date.
No,
there's you're not going to take time off.
Yeah, but other than him, I don't know who else is happening. I think Dean Malenko's still back there. They have Jerry Lynn, I believe, is still back there. They got Wrestling Minds. Oh, yep. So JJ's got our spoilers. Yeah,
I'm going to watch AEW.
Leaning into the NWO gimmick with Ruby, Saraya, and Tony. I think that's great.
And this just when one thing I've always said, which is just a thing, that's a fact, is that when wrestling is good, it's really, really good.
Oh yeah.
And when it makes you excited to watch, there's just nothing better. I don't know how to describe it to folks that don't watch wrestling and don't understand its appeal. You can get excited to see a movie or a shoot sports game. You know what I mean? But when wrestling is good, it's like the combination of both.
Right.
And I don't know.
When it's bad, it's really bad. But when it's great,
yeah,
it's like it'll bring tears to your eyes. It'll get you to cheer.
Yeah.
It'll get you to suspend your belief. I can't think of the last time I was actually curious, interested, and excited about a WrestleMania main event like this one.
Yeah.
To see Cody finish the story versus somebody who's had the title for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, of all the people, of all the times when Cody comes back, finishing the story, if it was somebody who just won the belt or somebody who already had the belt, that wouldn't have been as impressive. It's like, now you basically have to finish the story with the wrestler that's done something that hasn't been done in decades. And has true history with the family, and then he has this other drama going on with his family. It's great TV.
Yeah.
If they just had a 30-minute segment of just that stuff, I would tune in every week.
Yeah.
And that's what I turned into, just fast forward to get to those
parts.
I think,
you know what I'm missing WWE wise? It's hard. I don't know. I still can't get back into Raw. But I'm not sure. I watch parts of it. I watch the highlights. But I miss NXT. I miss old NXT.
Yeah. No.
That was the bridge. That was like the WWE content that was exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had your A show, the B show was great. I don't even know what's going on in NXT now. It's still the tie-dye? No, it's yellow and black again?
No, it's yellow and black. But it's Shawn. Shawn Michaels is running it, but it feels like what they wanted it to be all along. It's their feeder show. It's their regional show. It's creating new stars. They have great stars, and they have a lot of potential of people coming up, but they don't have anybody that's going to be in there that's going to steal the show from the main card, which is what was happening before.
Right.
Now you just have these great talents that eventually, oh yeah, these guys, there's this girl, Soul, man, she's fantastic to watch. Braun Baker, you have a future Steiner, and they're all good, but they all still feel like they're baking. Now it is a true feeder territory.
Yeah.
And just don't have that. But yeah, it's 3 hours is a lot. 3 hours is a lot on Monday.
I'm going to tell you this. This is my pitch to you guys, Tony Khan and makers of pay-per-views. 3 hours, top to bottom.
Yeah.
How about it? Give us a 3-hour pay-per-view, top to bottom, and we'll thank you for it.
Yeah.
And it'll have a great, memorable show.
Somebody actually brought that up in the scrum.
Yeah.
They were talking about the length of the show.
You can do the 1 hour pre-show on YouTube. Well, I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
But maybe if you made it 30 minutes, it'd be better. And just have that. And a solid 3-hour show, I guarantee you, people will go watch it at the theater. You can sell those theater seats.
Oh yeah, they had a theater deal, and they had a Dave and Buster's deal with this one.
Yeah, it was at the theater while I was in Chicago, and I considered seeing it, but I just got done too late.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It would be, they need that to keep the time tempered. When we had that with WrestleMania, right? I remember that. I think it was the year that from top to bottom, I think it was like a 7-hour experience. You're like, oh, okay, we need to stop that. And then
that's too much, and it's not good for the product. I mean, like, the crowd is exhausted by the main event.
Yeah, no, it's an 8 hour. It's a long day. It's a long work day.
Yeah.
But I do got to tell you, in Raw this week setting up, fast forwarding was a little bit more difficult because they had the Logan Paul setting up with Seth Rollins. They had the return of John Cena, and this was John Cena. Now you can tell he's Hollywood John Cena. He's not the guy that you saw every week, and it got a little bit of a shoot. They were talking about his age. They were talking about his bald spot. So you can tell that they were a little bit shooting on each other a little bit to set up for that Austin Theory fight. And I'm like, these guys are selling. They're selling all these matches really well. I think we're in for a good WrestleMania Because people were nervous. I don't know if you heard the rumor that Vince McMahon was backstage. And I don't know if he did this because now he's going through some kind of like identity crisis, or if he was legit trying to camouflage himself. But the rumor was he had completely dyed hair and a small, tiny little mustache.
I heard he had a mustache. Maybe he's going to be a new character. Vincente McMahon.
Yeah, it just cracked me up that he was back in there. So people are getting nervous, especially WrestleMania. Please don't. The creative is well, just don't mess with it. So, but we'll see. We will see. JJ is going to continue to give us hopefully those spoilers. Thank you for that. I'm glad they are leading into that NWO gimmick. So
that's great. That sounds great.
Let's talk about our gimmicks. You want to talk about want to do a quick social media update?
Yeah, so folks know.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a good time to tell them to like and subscribe. And you'll get these updates. We have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have all the major social media networks.
Yes.
I think we're on LinkedIn.
I did put us in LinkedIn.
So we're on all of them. So like and subscribe.
Yeah, that
was a good time.
We finally said the F word. I haven't really done much with it, but we created a landing spot for the blue one that starts with the letter F.
Oh yeah, that one.
We did finally start one, and it's just dumping all our IG stuff in there. But you notice the studio feels, for the first time, I feel like it feels a little empty, even though it's just me and you like the old days.
I know.
But like our guests were just like popping off, right? Jesse was here. We had the Mandalorian coming hot off of Rainbow Fright, and gotta thank you guys like enough, because that's really been I have so much content that we haven't even yet to drop, that it's getting to the point like, wow, we have like weeks worth of comment that we're just dropping. But it started with, it was the Creed.
What do we got?
So it started with the Creed week, and I was like,
should I get you in the close-up cam?
Yeah, let's get in the close-up cam here. So I had this picture of my cat fighting with another cat.
You know how many conversations have started with that line?
I have a picture.
The internet was created with that line.
Of a picture of my cat. And I didn't know what to do with it, but I knew I wanted to do something with it. So I was like, okay, let's use this. So let's go to the close-up cam gimmick here. Oh, we'll go side.
You're gonna have to go sideways.
So the fade to art.
Here, wait, let me widen out.
Okay, go ahead and widen it out before we do that. But I'll break it down. I think we're all familiar. We're all fans of the Rocky franchise here. Okay, there you go. Oh, okay. Yeah, that works.
Sorry, live TV.
Yeah. So Rocky 3, right? The fade to art that came in the back end of the credits here. And that just stuck with me. And I was watching this before I watched Creed, and I'm like, oh, that's how I can use it. I got to figure out how to fade. Because it just felt like a piece of art to me, where you just had my cat throwing blows, and I caught them mid-freeze, just like in Rocky. And then sure enough, I was like, yep, that's it. We found our spot to use our cat fight. So we made there we go. There we go, the cat fight cut. So I think if you just put hashtag cats for anything on the internet, you're going to get tons of traction. So that was fun. I had fun editing our guests, because I'm so used to seeing us just editing each other that it was fun to get in there and do some stuff. So I again, doing with DeRay and Amanda, helping us out, giving us their insights on Star Wars and horror movies. It was fun to have somebody different in there. And I think that's really helped. I mean, it
seems to have done well.
Yeah, it's doing really well, both on actually on YouTube Shorts as well. They're doing well. So we're going to have them both back on the show for sure. I think we're going to have Rainbow back on for a summer horror movie preview for sure. And then I think we're going to have a Mandalorian back on for
the finale.
Yeah, you're going to have to have her for the Mando finale. And Bad Batch, dude. We were pitching you on Bad Batch, and the last two episodes were so emotional. Yeah, RJ was very fight mode. He might have even been there when that cat fight happened.
Was that the only social media update we have?
No, there's more. I mean, I again, I don't really. I guess we can show some of our spots here, but a lot of it is just stuff that we do here. I have a spot for that one is doing. This one just dropped a little while ago.
Play the volume so we can hear your Babu Frick impression. I think that's over. We should take that on the road.
And I've been trying to pop some stuff in the. We just did. This one's hot off the presses. This one literally just dropped. I think. Oh, that's just. Don't actually listen to that. Where is it? Yeah, this one just dropped. I don't think you even seen this one, so it's new to you too.
When was the first time you ever saw him in something? He was Narcos.
Wait, what is it?
Oh.
Game of Thrones is
It's on. Sorry, it's on the close-up cam. I thought you were still on the close-up. There we go.
Go ahead, now do it.
When was the first time you ever saw him in something? He was Narcos. Game of Thrones is where I remember.
Have they told you who I am?
I haven't seen this one, no.
Worried that something will happen to you, and of course it has because you're a vampire.
Was that Pedro Pascal in Buffy?
Yeah.
Because it was nom delish and had you gagged.
When was the first time you ever saw him?
Yeah. So I was just like going through, and we were last week with
Getting really good at the video editing there.
trying, but yeah, I've been I stole that last clip from that brilliant SNL episode with Pedro Pascal on there when he was the teacher. Nom nom, eat me up, no crumbs.
And how's that doing?
That's doing really well. Pedro Pascal is money everywhere. You put Pedro Pascal hashtag on there, and magic's gonna happen. So, yeah, it's been really fun. Again, it's nice. We've officially named. Should we call this like baby volume? I know you want to call it the volume for our third set in here.
Yeah.
But I think just having that seat, someone in that volume's helped. We have people dialing in. We're dialing in. We're getting that video, so everybody's video is looking remote. So it's been really fun. I appreciate you guys helping us, get to that next level for sure. So yeah, check us out. TikTok, Instagram, F word. I don't know why I'm afraid to say it. Like I feel like we're gonna get demonetized if just by even saying it.
Yeah.
Because it's something about it feels so worked. Facebook is a work. It
Facebook
feels.
is
I
a
just
work,
said
yeah.
it. It is a work.
Facebook is a work. Yeah.
Just like you had these 3 people looking at your stuff. Like, did I though?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? What are you posting stuff for? Who do you want to see this? I don't understand.
Yeah, it I know I said it. I was trying not to say it, so do a shot but I did say it, but I'm sorry, it's a work.
Facebook is a work. Tag Zuckerberg in this. I'm not scared.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, because his favorite barbecue sauce is Sweet Baby Ray's. No heat with Sweet Baby Ray's, but come on.
What is that barbecue sauce?
It's just barbecue sauce. It's not, it's good. It's fine. It's good. But I mean, that's like, you would think you'd get something I think it'd be a little bit of a deeper cut.
I've never heard it. Oh, AJR says Facebook Marketplace is legit. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean,
Is it
that's
though?
True. Well, I hear people use it all the time.
Well,
it
yeah,
seems to
you
be.
could. And look, I've sold many old devices on there. I'm not saying it's not, but they somehow found a way to mess that up too. Like if you post something, you'll start getting people like, "Hey, I'm interested," and it's a bot. Like,
Yeah,
wait, this is supposed to be a local, like Austin PD, Round Rock PD. They have a location in their parking lot that is filmed 24/7, 365 for online exchanges.
Yeah.
To go and do that. But like, what is a bot doing trying to say I'm interested? And then like, what happens here? Like, are you going to meet me in person and be Johnny Five? Like, what's the next step
what's
here?
the end goal,
What's
right?
the next step here?
I mean, obviously they want your data, but what data are they going to get
Yeah.
from trying to sell you a used bicycle?
yeah, it's just like, do you still have that armoire? It's like, I'm interested. Okay, now what, bot? Like, what are you going to get from this? Like, you're going to offer to meet me and not be
Well,
there?
the technology's not there. They haven't gotten that far.
They haven't. I just want to. There was a couple other apps that were working better with that whole.
Well,
local
there's
experience.
a new phone bot thing. I don't know if you've heard of this one. I've been getting this lately. I don't know if you've gotten it, but I get people calling me and saying I just called them.
Oh no!
Is it yes? You just called. I just missed a call from this number. Have you not heard this one?
No, I haven't heard that one.
I'm starting to get that one a lot. Yeah, and it's just people just call 'em, and I think they're real people, and like whatever telemarketing is, like spoofing phone numbers.
Oh my god, dude!
But it happened today. Someone called me, and it was like, "Hello." He said, "Yeah, I just got a call from this number," and I was like, "No, I didn't call you." I was like, "Yeah, I got it. You called me." Blah blah. It's like, "Didn't," and it was like, "I didn't call you," and he was like, "Okay, good," and he hung up, and that's like, what the hell was that?
I think they verified your numbers good before
Maybe.
they sell it.
And then multiple other times I've had people do that, and it happens in succession, like minutes apart.
Oh man, I'm surprised you answer your phone. I don't answer my phone
Because it doesn't do the thing where it says scam likely, and I'm just like, who is this? But it's spoofing another number, so it looks like a local number.
so it looks real.
Yeah.
I'm really I block anything that's not even in my contacts because
Yeah.
my contact list I feel like is thicker than a Snicker.
Yeah.
Been building it up for years, so I'm sure I try to add as fast as possible.
Yeah.
To get it, but like even texts, I've been getting those like high texts. JJ doesn't answer any calls from Florida. Hi JJ, it's Mickey Mouse. Why are you scanning my calls? Yeah, you know it's either a Walt Disney call or a strip club call if they're calling from Florida. So either way, you want nothing to do with that.
Or do you?
Or do you? Or you find a way to marry both. Put your chocolate with your peanut butter.
How about if Disneyland put a strip club in the back for the parents, if they double off the kids?
Disney After Dark.
There you go.
That's all. I used to just want like a recliner at the mall just for a place to sit, but now you're blowing my mind because now it's like, okay, enjoy your day.
I told you the mall around the corner here has just a bar in the middle of it for no reason. And when I say the middle of the mall, I mean the center of the mall where you walk. Like in between a bunch of stores, there's just an island that's a circle with beer taps and bar stools, and it's always full of people just in front of the Foot Locker and the JCPenney's.
Right?
Yeah.
You might as well. I thought, yeah, you need a place to spend some time and some money there.
I guess.
And RJ said Disney After Dark. I'd like to see that cosplay would be lit. And it's funny. I'm going to call him out. You remember Big Jake, right? You remember our friend of the show, Jake T. He hasn't been on this show, but he was on our other B2B marketing show. Big Jake.
Oh yes,
yeah,
Jake,
Big Jake,
of course.
Yeah. So he'll send you a late message or a pretty random message, but this one I really enjoyed. He had a picture of a female wrestler who's in NXT. I don't even know what her name is. He's like, "Can you help me? I need to know if this is wrong. Have you ever seen the movie Goofy Sports?" And I was like, yeah, of course. Everyone's seen Goofy Sports. He's just like, "I'm wildly attracted to this wrestler, but I think it's because she looks like the girl from Goofy Sports," which is basically just female Goofy. And then I would think if the person heard this, they would be insulted. But if you go back and watch Goofy Sports and you see the girl he's talking about, she's beautiful. She looks like a beautiful version of Goofy.
And it's a Goofy, or it's a...
Yeah, it's a female version of Goofy.
Okay.
And if you go back and watch that, you're like, oh, wow.
Do you know the character's name? I'd like to pull this
You
up.
just pull up Goofy Sports, Goofy's girlfriend, or something along those lines. But I was looking at it, I was like, Jake, no. As a matter of fact, I highly encourage, she's beautiful. Like, whoever said that the female version of Goofy or Mickey or Donald was not gorgeous?
I mean, Minnie's pretty attractive.
Yeah, it's funny, and RJ's talking about the Disney After Dark, and I think RJ, you did post this, confirm that you're like, if she won't get with you taking those types of videos with the Disney filter on, is it really even love? And it was a picture of two people with the Disney filter on in the throes of passion.
Did Disney hide this? I can't find any pictures of her. No.
I'll have to see if I can find one there. Let me whip up.
Disney buried this like they buried Bound by Honor.
Do not bury this, because again, she was gorgeous. I was like, and I don't remember that. Like, do you remember being like wildly attractive to female cartoon characters like this? Where is it? No.
I can't.
Where did he send it?
I'm sure there is one, but I can't think of it at the moment.
All right, hold
Yeah,
on.
do you have? Can you find it?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can actually find the text.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I found it.
Okay, is it on the close-up cam?
Yeah, let's put it
Okay.
on the close-up cam.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, she's right. You're like, if my what do you call whatever you want, girlfriend, wife, whatever, look like that, like, yeah, I'd have no heat with that, right?
Put it back up again.
You want to see it again?
Yeah.
All right, let's see it again.
What is this character's name?
I don't know. She was just in Goofy Sports, is all I know.
And this was Goofy's girlfriend?
Yeah, I believe it was Goofy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't just accidentally ship the Goofy movie. Maybe it wasn't Goofy Sports. Maybe it was the Goofy movie.
Oh, the Goofy
I
movie.
thought it was Goofy Sports.
Okay.
I hope I just didn't accidentally create a P-Hub. I was like, nope, you just shipped step siblings. Sorry about that. But yeah, I also got to find who the wrestler was. Oh, yeah. What's up, Chuckles? I don't know if you're on there.
Chuckles is on?
You know, he's the book for the week. He was going to come in here.
Did you see, speaking of...
Oh, he has a great idea.
What?
So we'll book this live. We will have Chuckles in studio for a Hawaiian t-shirt special, and he said he will make the pina coladas.
Hawaiian t-shirt special.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we booked it. So there we go. We got finale with the Mandalorian.
I
We got
bet I
Rainbow
could get
Fright.
that. I bet I could get that if you like pina coladas sample into the show.
We can do that.
Like if I just cut it short.
Roxanne, there it is. JJ found it. Good job.
RJ says female cartoon characters are the best road to El Dorado. Is the season I'm attracted to Latinas. Thank you, RJ.
Yeah, he has.
Who else has cartoon fetishes out there?
He has pillows with that. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, JJ. They were quick on the draw. It was Roxanne. But I think it's
Roxanne.
great. The Geek Commander, he's also going to be in here. He's going to be here next week for the Last of Us finale special. And he's a Disney guy for sure. So he will have great insight into this female cartoon character fetish.
Yeah.
That is a thing. Because I think it is a thing.
Yeah.
It is a thing for me. And if it wasn't before, it is now. All right. You want to take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some Creed 3?
Creed 3, yeah, let's do that.
All right. BRB.
I bet you think my favorite bubbly is champagne. Well, surprise. What I really love is Sun Country Wine Cooler. It's a truly marvelous blend of real fruit juice and premium wine. As a matter of fact, it's the best tasting cooler I've ever had. So when they asked me to talk about Sun Country, naturally I accepted. Sun Country, say, gimme the real juice cooler. They told me I'd be working in fur, but this is ridiculous.
Wang announces the most important step in managing information since the computer, WangNet. WangNet is the electronic connection that gives anyone in your office any kind of information they need instantly by linking together every conceivable kind of office equipment, no matter who makes it. WangNet links you to floors below or satellites above, using just half its capacity, leaving room, of course, for Wang's next breakthrough in office automation.
I am here to make a pitch for Sun Country Peach. Why me? Because I'm crazy about the taste of peach. And Sun Country Wine Cooler is the most refreshing blend of premium wine and real peach juice I ever pitched. It has such a great taste. It's how you say it? Peachy, peachy. Sun Country. Say, give me the real juice cooler. You know, I don't mind doing cuchi in a bear suit, but it's so itchy. Caramba, me está matando tantas hormigas dentro de los pantalones.
Let's buy our small computer from the giant computer company. You can't beat Goliath.
No. Right, David?
Sir, let's go with Wang. Nobody makes a better small computer or word processor. They're giant killers.
It happened before. It can happen again, because nobody's hungrier than Wang.
He's right.
I used to be frightened by all the wine coolers I saw. I was scared I wouldn't pick the right one. Luckily, I did. It was the most refreshing one of them all, Sun Country Wine Cooler. You see, Sun Country is a blend of premium white wine and real fruit juice. That's what gives it its great taste. Sun Country, say, give me the real juice cooler. If you don't say Sun Country, You'd better sleep with your lights on.
All over the world, Wang is a leader in office technology. Word processing, data processing, and now with our new electronic mail system, you can send all kinds of information from one part of the world to another. So New York can be around the corner from Paris, London from Tokyo, and San Francisco next to Rome. Wang, making the world more productive by bringing it closer together.
This is the tale of the Sun Country Kid. Rode into town on a horse he called Sid. Bought Sun Country wine coolers for one and all. Said, drinks are on me. Go on, have a ball. Sun Country's made from juice that's all real and premium wine for refreshing appeal. One sip and you'll know my story is true. Because when has this bear ever lied to you? Sun Country, say give me the real juice cooler. So ask for Sun Country. It's fun, never stuffy. And you can take that from a bear named Duffy.
There's an alternate version of that commercial where he's dead the whole time.
Oh, really? Yeah, that was a big gimmick, right? It was just a big. It was just.
I don't think that's what happened on Dallas. I think I said it wrong, but
no, yeah, he did. It was all a dream.
No, he died, and then it turned out it was a dream.
It was a dream. Yeah,
right.
They stumbled upon him in the shower. So, but I'd be remiss if I did not mention, and chat, you can play along, and if you're watching this in the future patrons, just go ahead and put 1 in the comments. We were talking about renting an Airbnb and making it Dos Incredibles headquarters during FantasticFest right here in Austin, Texas, during the movie festival. So go ahead and press 1 if that's something you'd be down to. We can just, I know they say no parties, but we're going to party. Let's just make it, even if you don't have
they shoot feature films in Airbnbs. That's a party.
Yeah, so if you're...
They got folks with trucks and everything.
Yes, Rainbow's in.
Rainbow's in.
Right? Even if we don't have a... And you know what we can do?
I just... Yeah, well, go ahead.
We can just do the whole switcheroo. Like, we just keep switching badges, and we just keep sending reps there with new badges, and then we bring people back to the Airbnb. But it's got to be walking distance to Alamo, South Lamar.
Yeah.
So...
there's lots of filmmakers there that I'm sure would love to get interviewed. And we just take the whole remote setup,
right?
Take the Dos Incredibles Studio Roadshow kit. We got like that Tony Stark's version.
Yeah, the nanobot edition.
Yeah, the one that's just like a suitcase and it turns into a studio. We have that.
Yeah.
And then just set it up there. Get some folks in for interviews. Just do content. And like I was saying, I think it'd be great because we could go watch movies, come back to the studio, drop reviews immediately,
right?
And go to the other movie.
Yeah.
I've been wanting for you to come.
No, I think this is the year because
this has got to be it.
This is the year because we have our friend of the show, our very first guest, Brendan MB Hayes. Dos Incredibles
MB
International from Cork, Ireland. He said he wants to come to Austin and visit us, and I'm like, well, maybe it'll be that time. So once he buys the ticket coming from there, it's a fully commit. And Rainbow, I don't know if you've been to FantasticFest. I think it's better after you brought me to, even then, this was the tempered version. It was better than South by to me.
Oh, it 100% is better than South
it felt better than South by, and now we know.
I told you in that the first night I was there, I just kind of showed up after work and I saw Darcy, Chris Jericho, Kevin Bacon, Kara Sidgwick.
Yeah.
Just in like a span of a few minutes.
Just hanging out there.
Yeah.
And a hot dog and an electric chair.
And they go all out. There was this year there was a thing where it was a whole robot theme. And when you got your badge, they gave you floppy disks. And you were like, haha, what thanks. That's hilariously and ironic, right? Because it's old tech.
Right.
But when you got to the party, the opening night party, you would use the floppy disks to get drinks.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
they had literally they would, and it wasn't like you handed it to a person and they made you they gave you a Bud Light. It was like you hand the disc to a person, they push a button on a machine, it's like Pee Wee Herman style, and just spits out a gin and tonic into an old jar, and that was your drink.
I can see it kind of just like sputtering too, but you'd still drink it. It'd be the best drink that you ever had. Yeah.
So they go all out. If you're a film nerd type of a person, it's the best party of the year, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely had some FOMO when you're sending those pictures and you're like on the sneak, like look who's here, and we know Gigi Saul Guerrero is probably going to be there again this year with the premiere of that film.
Who are you talking about?
The film that So I feel like we can get her on the show. I think now it's just going to be the challenge. Whoever gets this badge, we'll do it in pairs of 2s, and you just go to the festival and see who you can bring back. We'll just interview like people all just over the whole week. We'll just get a nice big house. We'll have people coming in and out. You can crash there if you want. We'll get a big enough house where we got some beds.
Yeah.
We'll just do it around the clock. It'll be like our own little minor spin-off festival.
Yeah.
Dos Incredibles festival.
I'm into it. And then we'll set up a spot show in the yard.
Yeah, we'll just do it. Yeah, and you can do that. That's only in Austin. But it's got to be in walking distance. We don't want anyone driving.
Yeah.
We just want people that be able to walk, sneak in that back way that you showed us how to get into South Lamar and make this happen. So, yeah, hit 1. If you're down for this, if you're watching the future, it's going to be a good time.
Well, that's coming soon. So I think we should do that. I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah. I actually pulled the app up and then got distracted.
Right.
But that's how close I was because once Brendan hit us up and he's a huge Halloween 3 fan and he traveled to California to see that, and then he let us know that they are actually tearing that warehouse down. So I sent you that article about tearing down the Silver Shamrock warehouse.
Oh, I didn't realize he sent you that.
He sent me that, yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked to him in a while. We'd love to have him on. Like, we used to have him on here when we taped the show, but like right now he's sound asleep. So it's a little hard.
It's hard to get
him live for sure. So, but yeah, it'll be good. So yeah, Dre, come down. We'll have a good time. Bring some folks, bring some peeps, and I mean it's Austin. Like the worst case scenario is you're just gonna get a vacation to Austin.
Yeah.
Like nothing bad. I'm not traveling back to Round Rock that week. I'm like, I will leave my car and I'm committing to the bit as well.
Just commit to the gimmick.
Commit to the bit. So, all right, let's jump in. Speaking of movies, let's get into it. Son of Apollo, Adonis, Creed 3. We both saw it separately.
Yeah. Where did you see it?
I saw it at Flick's Brewhouse, which is the Round Rock version of Alamo Draft House.
Right.
So I was just like, yeah, it was a lunch movie. Like you go to lunch and you eat and drink a beer and you watch a movie, and it was great. I was so hyped for this movie. I'm a huge mark for the whole Rocky franchise.
Yeah.
To me, there's no bad Rocky movies. There's ones that are better than other ones, but there's none that are bad. And in a way, it's like the first movie that has like been able to be number 1 at the box office in the last 5 decades, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, now 2020s, right?
It's almost a 50-year-old franchise.
Yeah, that's unreal how much it spanned. And it clearly, the passing of the torch was successful. And I know the rumors out there that Rocky wanted the rights back, and you saw that he said, I'm getting old. I want to leave a legacy to my family.
Yeah.
So I found out he's not feuding with Michael B. Jordan. He's actually feuding with Irvin Winkler, who's been with him since the beginning.
Yeah, I think we should talk about this. I think this is an important framing of the movie for what it is.
Yeah.
So Rocky, Stallone is angry. He wants the rights back to Rocky. He wants partial rights. Stallone wrote the original Rocky script and he played Rocky.
Yep.
But when he was a young up-and-coming actor with no credits, he wrote Rocky.
Right.
And basically, as part of his deal to star in Rocky, he sold the rights to Irvin Winkler, to the character. I don't know. I think then Stallone went on to become one of the most famous and successful actors of all time. Had a great career, made a bunch of movies, made a bunch of Rocky movies.
Yeah, a lot of Rocky movies.
Has just had an awesome run. Do you feel that he should get some rights back? Do you feel that he was do you feel like for some reason that those should be returned to him?
I think he should get a piece of it. But that being said, if him getting a piece of it would be a courtesy, not a requirement, because you can call it unfortunately, but you can also call it fortunate because it made his career and he's made millions and millions because of that sale. He sold it. It was sold those Hollywood contracts, they don't play, man.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles, Michael Jackson owned the Beatles music.
Yeah.
It still to this day like blows my mind. So I think it would be a courtesy of like, we'll give you a piece of the action, but not a requirement at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
it's his though. I mean, this is like this movie doesn't exist without him. And you hear the backstory, like Rainbow said, he did the damn thing, like the passion. You heard the story that, Henry Winkler like picked him up on the side of the road with his broken car.
Yeah.
And they were going to like, that movie could have went in so many different directions, and he fought to just make it Rocky with him.
He made it Rocky with him, and he got his shot because of that. Because of at the time he had no pull. Stallone in Rocky meant nothing.
No.
You know what I mean?
Nope.
So he did get his big break because Erwin Winkler, I was looking up a little more about this. He actually had to he put his house up on this movie.
Really?
He mortgaged his house for part of the financing. He did a lot, He
did do a lot.
And like nobody in no other scenario, can you imagine a scenario where some indie actor writes a movie and then, a big studio wants to make it and they let him star in it?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. He would have. It was like, Tarantino fighting against Travolta in a movie.
Right.
Like, when studios are like, no, they'll draw the line. And usually the producer has to do something extreme to make that happen. So it just would be a courtesy. But we live in a world where Marvel Comics, who created Spider-Man, cannot get Spider-Man back into their studio.
Right.
They're currently Disney is trying to give Hulu to Universal just to get Hulk and Namor rights. So because they don't have distribution rights, they're willing to give up Hulu. That's that form of entertainment law is no joke. Everything is like ironclad. So he sold it. So maybe the courtesy would be, how much money you're going to put up for this? Like, are you willing to buy it back? Because Paul McCartney did try to buy the music back. He got outbid.
I don't think there's any buying it back. It's just not going to happen.
Now, no, because it's. He made it was like $54 million.
Even before that, it's still one of the biggest franchises of all time.
Yeah,
there's just no buying it back. It's like it's one of those instances. To me, it's the scenario where it's like you loan someone $1 for a lottery ticket, and then they win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are you entitled to that money?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just.
Ooh, that's a good. Yeah,
they
good
both.
Comparison.
They both. They got a lot out of it, both of them. But I don't know. A deal's a deal, kind of.
It is a deal. It's a deal. But if I was Rocky, also knowing, and again, I'm a completist, but I also get attached to some of my stuff, as sometimes to a fault. I have a hard time to imagine that he was able to sit on the sidelines and not be a part of it. And make no mistake, and we'll talk about this in Creed 3. The torch was passed effectively because it did not need Rocky. I saw a spot for a Rocky scene, but not for Rocky to be any part of it at all. It could have just been like a one phone call or one handshake or just like, what do you think I should do? But it didn't suffer because it didn't have that.
You're talking about the original Creed?
Creed 3.
Oh, Creed 3.
This one.
Yes.
It didn't need it. I saw a spot for it, but it didn't need it.
Is it the same spot I'm thinking about? Should I do the spoiler thing?
Yeah, let's do the spoiler.
So we can get into the movie. We don't need to take it in order. But are you talking about the funeral?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think, that was the only part where I'm like, well, Rocky would have been here. Something's up. But that was probably the only part.
Right, because and ironically, the heavy comparisons to Rocky 3 and Creed 3 were there, right? Like Diamond Dame was there, Clubber Lang. They referenced the Lang Stallone 1 and Lang Stallone, they referenced it.
Yeah.
They had Mickey's funeral was in Rocky's 3, and we're already in spoiler zone, right? So having, Adonis Creed's mom's passing away too, and it was all there. So
the notes are the same.
Yeah,
the beats are the same. And I went back as soon as I got back from Creed 3, because I mean, I loved it. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, me too.
It killed me. Like, it got me. Everything worked so well.
Yeah.
This was what everybody felt with Top Gun Maverick last year. This was it.
100.
It's worked.
Put some
so
hundreds here.
And it worked so good. But I went back, and as soon as I got back to the hotel, I started watching Creed and Creed 2. And I realized they're doing all the notes from every movie. Creed 2 is note by note Rocky 4.
Yeah.
But they're just doing them out of order.
Yes.
And Creed, in its own way, is Rocky also. But they're doing a reverse. It's like Rocky is this loser from Philadelphia. Best job he can get is as a street thug, but he tries to box, to do something kind of like good and decent, right? Something, aspire to something. On the flip side, you've got Adonis Creed, who started out with a bad life, but eventually got adopted, went to college, and he works at a prestigious business firm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he boxes. He boxes to do something different than that, to something you need, whatever. So, it's a similar setup. But they flip it. Creed 1 is so good. It works so well. I think outside of the first Rocky, the best written Rocky movie is Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I marked out when JJ said, "Give me Tommy Gunn Jr."
Man.
Dude, and before we go further, we be remiss, in our social media update, we actually have an official playlist now for Mario's Machete Cuts. So now, before we go any further on this is going to be Mario's Machete Cuts presents the Rocky/Creed franchise. How would you pitch somebody to watching this? And now I'm going to keep my yap shut. Okay,
so I think that you should you start with Rocky 1. But what you want to do is watch Rocky 1 all the way up until the ending fight, the big fight with Apollo Creed. Then cut the tape off there, put in Rocky 2, and watch the ending fight from Rocky 2 instead.
I'm trying not to mess up your flow, but this is so
That's
good.
Okay. You can fix this in editing.
Is it?
So you watch the ending fight from Rocky 2 instead of the ending fight from Rocky 1. Then you go ahead and watch Rocky 3 all the way through. You go ahead and do that. You jump immediately to you're gonna jump from the end of Rocky 3. You're gonna watch. Wait, hold on. I'm lost a little bit.
No,
you can edit this out. Rocky 3, you need to watch all in full because you need to see the Creed, the development of that situation.
Right.
You need to know that Apollo Creed died, but you don't need to watch Rocky 4 to know that.
Right.
So you can just go ahead and jump either to the opening sequence of Rocky 5, but then take that opening sequence of Rocky 5 and tag it to Rocky Balboa instead of Rocky 5. Watch Rocky Balboa just up until the part where he gives his son that awesome speech.
It ain't hard you get hit. It's how hard you get hit.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And then you cut there. And when Rocky walks back into the restaurant is when Adonis Creed is there. And this is a difficult cut. This is a difficult edit. Yes, and we're missing James Brown performance. It's a classic. But it's kind of a camp classic. We don't need it for the Rocky story.
But aren't you the one that said that Creed 2 is Rocky 4 Part 2?
Creed 2 is Rocky 4 Part 2, yes. That being said, since we already saw what happened in Rocky 4 in the montage that opens Rocky 5, which is now attached to Rocky Balboa instead, we can jump right into Creed midway through. And I think you can watch Creed and Creed 2 all the way through. And now you're ready to watch Creed 3.
And now you're caught for Creed 3. That's perfect. Oh, that's going to be a fun one to compile.
You're going to have to edit that one a lot.
Yeah, and that was good, though. There was good. So, on Creed 3, man, RJ, it ain't how hard you hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
I love that speech.
It's so great. It's in every YouTube motivational speeches. It's stood the test of time. And it just goes to show how good of a writer he is. I mean, he wrote that after everybody wrote the Rocky franchise off after Rocky 5. And then he wrote that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a
Stallone's always been a good writer,
yeah,
right?
He's a great writer. He knows.
Yeah.
So I was really interested. He's like, Creed 3, they were going in a direction that I didn't agree with. He says he doesn't want the characters to go in too dark of a place. But I don't think that this was a dark place necessarily, but what I did like about it, and yeah, let's start the Oscar campaign for Jonathan Majors right now.
Jonathan Majors in this movie. Yeah.
Fantastic.
100%. This is, when I saw this, I would like, if I was his agent, I would be like, quit Marvel. Like, just forget it. Because he's going to be back.
Oh, yeah.
Drago was back. He'll be back. Creed 4, he'll be in it. And I think Michael B. Jordan already out there, he's talking about the Creed universe.
Wow.
And like, as I'm watching this movie, I was just imagining two things. I realized, did the fighting scenes this time, the actual matches, feel like video games? Like they felt very video game.
Oh yeah, and that's what made it great. And
from the camera work to like the audio, the announcing, it felt like a video game to me.
Well, I was doing that very distracting, looking at the crowd and like, okay, those aren't real people.
Those are
sitting
comps,
there.
yeah. And then they had the strobe lights in there to like distract you from the comps.
It did,
and that's fine. It still worked. It's fine. Like,
it worked great. I mean, that whole scene that I've never seen. This was the first Rocky movie that's ever done this, where they made the audience disappear, and then you just had the one-on-one personal fight, because that's what it was. This was
you were
good.
You were good with that.
I was great. I was fine with that.
A lot of people don't like it out there.
No, I loved it, and the whole bar, and then like them seeing younger versions of themselves there. I didn't think that they would be able, because Creed had Rocky. That could have been like the spin-off Rocky movie. Even Creed 2 had characters that were the Drago family tied into 4. I didn't know how they were going to be able to introduce a new boxer and make it mean as much as they did, and they did it and then some. To me, like, I was like, well, what are they going to do? They're going to make him Clubber Lang's, Junior, like some. I was like, now that you can't keep playing that note.
Yeah.
But they found the perfect actor and the perfect personal issue. And what was great about Dame in this was he was like Thanos. You can't walk out of this movie and not have a good majority of the people think that he was right, that he had his life stolen from him. That would have been his life. He stood up for Adonis, and he's the one that literally took the bullet. Well, not literally, but he took the fall, and his life went in a complete different direction because he stood up for Adonis. And then even when he came back, he didn't really say, I'm asking for help, but he was there to say, I'm here if you need me. And then he did ask for that favor. He asked, and then Adonis said no. And now you're talking about somebody who's given up so much and sacrificed so much for this person, and you're not going to give me a break? So then he took extreme measures to get what he wanted. But he did ask first. I'm not saying it's right or not saying it's wrong, but it created a lot of gray area that even Adonis realized, oh man, maybe I do owe this guy. And then I love that dynamic that he just couldn't figure out, what do I owe him? And then like in the very beginning, he was like trying to pay that debt off literally with cash. He like slid the cash and he's like, no, I appreciate it, but I'm not here for cash.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. He was not going to let him wiggle his way out of doing right by him.
Yeah. And I mean, they still took the beats from Rocky 3. The beats are in there, but they just made them way more well written. If you watch Rocky 3, I think Clubber Lang just is watching TV and Rocky's on it and he gets mad.
Yeah, exactly.
And he goes and he starts shadowboxing.
Yeah, it never came out. Yeah, you didn't know where it came.
That's pretty much it. And then he works his way up just with the intention of like, I'm going to beat Rocky Balboa. They took, and then, he beats Rocky. Rocky loses confidence. He needs help getting it back.
I had the tiger.
I had the tiger. So, they took all those same beats and they dressed them up in just a way better story.
Yeah.
They took Mickey dying and made it his mom.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Mrs. Cosby.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to say that.
All right. Now they're...
Damn it. Sorry.
This is shadow banned already. But like, they took all those beats and they used the same formula. Never do you think Adonis is going to lose. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you do.
There was a part of me that I thought he was going to do the job.
Maybe if you are if you are whatever, if you're new to the Rocky franchise, I guess, you might actually believe he's going to lose. Can I just say, now I'm going to jump back on one thing. The first fight with Chavez, whatever the other guy he fights first.
Oh, yeah.
When he's fighting dirty.
Yep.
One of the greatest scenes of all time. I love that so much.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Majors is so good. Like, he's so good when my favorite part was when the referee comes up to him and is like, hey, you need to cut that out, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like nodding his head. Yeah. Oh man, it's so good.
Oh no. Yeah. It was brilliant. I thought it was great. When I'm doing my kickboxing instruction, when I'm showing people, it's like, this is for fitness, but if you wanted to actually for self-defense, hit him in a very awkward position. So when I saw him do that weird, I'm going to punch you in the armpit.
Yeah.
You would never think anything of it, right? You would think, oh, you punch in the armpit, but you don't realize there's nothing but nerves there, right?
And the announcer calls it out. I was like, what an awkward punch.
Yeah, exactly. And then I thought, wow, this is brilliant. Now he's not going to be able to punch his heart.
Yeah.
Wow. And the way he handled it, he was just like, he didn't think he was doing anything wrong, but he didn't necessarily care if people thought what he was doing was right.
Yeah.
He was just going to do what was needed to be done to accomplish his goal, which was his goal, because you see him as a kid.
Yeah.
And when they're driving in the car, that was so sad. They just like, I'm going to be the champion. I'm going to start boxing. I'm going to get, and it was all taken away in one mistake that was actually caused by Adonis. Adonis was the one that made the mistake, and he was covering for him. So I was like, wow, they really went this direction that, is he necessarily a heel? There would be like, how many people out there were thinking, oh yeah, Adonis needs to do right by him for everything that he's done?
Yeah.
That had to be a good portion of the audience.
Yeah. And it's like you said, no true heels.
No. And hats off to Michael B. Jordan, because it easily could have turned on him and he could have been the heel. Like a lot of people could have gone the Thanos is right. In this iteration, it would have been Kang was right. That, yeah, you need to do right by him and you don't deserve it. So the whole spiral of him going down, and when I really thought that there was a chance Adonis was going to lose, it did happen, right? And it was the spot at the beach when he punched him in the face, and he knocked him out. That was his loss. That he just goes to show that you're not going to be able to beat me. I showed you everything about it. It was a great movie, and I never would have thought it would have been my favorite Creed movie.
Yeah,
because Creed 2, it was pretty high for me just because I like Rocky 4, but this would have bullet. This is up there with like my favorite Rocky movies.
Well, I would say go back and watch Creed 1 again if you haven't.
I need to go back and
because
watch
I said
Creed
I
1.
went back and started rewatching them. I only got one through the first 1.5 movies, but Creed 1 is just it's so well written. It's on par with Rocky as far as the writing.
Agreed.
It's so good. And like Ryan Coogler is such a great director. The way when you watch that movie, there's the moment at the very end where we finally get the line where Creed tells Rocky why he's fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
when he says, go out, Liz, let me prove it. And Rocky's like, what? Prove what? He says that I'm not a mistake. And,
man. Yeah, that was
and
powerful.
right there, they swell the Rocky music.
Yep.
For the first time in the movie. They'd never have it the entire movie until then. Ryan Coogler's a genius.
Oh yeah. And it was just a version of the Rocky music in this, right? But
It was the classic Rocky theme music from the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, you're right. It was so good. I mean, Ryan Coogler, hats off. That was really good. I was worried a lot of people would be new to the franchise, would be a little bit distracted that we basically were getting Killmonger versus Kang, and Valkyrie was in Killmonger's corner.
That never entered my mind. Do you think that entered people's minds?
No. Before I went and saw the movie, and you saw how Jack Diesel, those guys were on the poster, I thought, yes. As soon as I went in that movie, I was in the Rocky Creed universe, and it didn't even cross my mind.
I have a pitch for you. And this is not a pitch. This is a thing for you. I know, like, I saw this one in Chicago when I was doing the work thing, and I walked over to the AMC there. The crowd was into it. Man, it adds a lot.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
It adds a lot, man.
Yeah. You need people cheering.
Yeah. I know you're like big on seeing that first screening.
Yeah, just to get that.
Yeah. Maybe wait till like a little later in the evening, because when the crowd's hot, it just adds a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had people clapping in the lunch show, which is very. Yeah. And this isn't a clapping theater, so I was like, and so yeah, I just jumped on it and clapped too.
Yeah,
because it was really good. So
Shout out to AMC in Chicago. They got their act together. It's not like the ones here.
Yeah, they got the McShooters.
The McShooters was open. It's never open. You know, they had the Premier Access line, and it was actually functioning.
All right.
It was good. They weren't out of hot dogs.
Theaters are back, baby.
Theaters are back.
Hot dogs are hot.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I'm excited that you said that the Creed universe is out there. And again, I there's a part of me again to being the completist. I want Rocky to still be a part of that Creed universe because he kind of gave birth to that universe. Oh man. JJ's got 2 big spoilers. So one of the big ones, Mox doesn't bleed in his match. That's huge. But did you see this other spoiler?
No. Which one?
AEW is rebranding the All Atlantic Championship to the AEW International Championship.
Okay. Who's back there? Who's making some decisions?
I don't know.
Someone's changing something, man. Someone got the pencil.
Somebody does. It could be a Tony thing. I don't know. I know they have their Ring of Honor show that's got to be coming up, or they already have it like just app only and stuff.
Bring that on. I want to see Eddie Kingston be the champ of Ring of Honor. Please.
Yeah, that would be big.
Finally, give Eddie Kingston what he needs.
Yeah, he should be running that joint for sure, rightfully, because he is all about honor. It's not about whatever, the best technical portion of it. He's just like, he's a wrestler. He's going to go in there, he's going to wrestle, and he's going to fight when he needs to fight. So that would be really good. So do you think, jumping back on this, Creed 4, is that a possibility, and where does it go?
We gonna try and book Creed 4?
Yeah, let's book Creed 4.
Well, I'm not quite sure, but I definitely we need to have Damien back.
Yeah,
we need to have Drago. Ooh, maybe Creed 4 opens with a fight between Damien and Drago.
That could be interesting. Yeah, they tease that there's he's not done yet.
Yeah. More so than Creed 4.
Yeah.
As I was watching this movie, like I said, the fights feel like a video game. Are we going to get a Creed video game? Can you imagine that? And you can be either Creed or Damien or Drago or Rocky.
Oh my God. That books itself. Whoever, maybe that's why they need to get those rights, just so you can have that beautiful game. But think of it. Yeah. I mean, you got Apollo, you got Clubber.
You could be Apollo?
Yeah. You can get Ivan, Drago in there.
Yeah.
Father, son. Yeah. The booking is endless in that. So I was curious. I was thinking about it, right? And you draw the parallels, right? But Creed 2 is Rocky 4 Part 2. Creed 3 can be married to Rocky 3. Are we going to get the Creed 5 version, which is, the street fight with Tom, like JJ was saying, Tommy the Machine Gun Jr.?
Well, we're going to get
like a version of that. Is that possible?
We're going to get Amara Creed.
Oh, yes, the daughter.
We're going to get Amara Creed.
The daughter.
As, the
female. Man, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I love that storyline. She did hats off to, what's her name that plays Valkyrie?
Tessa Thompson.
Yeah. She's great.
Yeah.
And she did her Adrian role, and then to have this daughter. And I feel like Rocky...
Creed Super Punch-Out. It's exactly what I'm thinking. Yes. We don't want like a realistic... one of those realistic boxing games that's all slow and people feel like, we want Super Punch-Out with all the Creed characters.
You want the... Ooh, boom, boom, boom,
yeah.
Boom, boom.
And the stars and the uppercuts and everything. Yeah. Everybody has a...
Uppercut.
Everybody has their own sort of finishing move.
Oh, that would be great. I'd love to see it.
But anyways, yeah, Mark.
No, what I was saying, Mark. Because one of the failings of Rocky, and I don't know if it was intentional or not intentional, is they never were able to successfully convert and have a Rocky Jr. to pass the torch to. Right? Unfortunately, he had his son who unfortunately passed. And Rocky 3 was too young, but Rocky 4, his actual son Sage then passed, and then they had Milo. That was that, but he was never in danger of becoming a boxer. He was always like the accountant who didn't understand what his dad was doing.
Maybe that's what his problem is. Because I don't know why does Rocky's son have heat with him? Rocky's a nice guy. Maybe he should have gone into boxing.
I don't know.
Of business.
Yeah, and they went in the direction. If you think in the beginning, Adrian wasn't behind him. That's why it was such a big deal. It was like, come here. When? What are we waiting for?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a big deal when she's finally like, I'm going to back you. But for a lot of times, she wasn't. She wanted him to retire. She wanted him to be done.
Pretty much always after that fight, yeah.
I mean, Adrian had never stopped asking to be a woman. Don't ask you to stop being a man.
She was never after Rocky, too. That was the only one she was into.
So I feel like Rocky Jr. took over Adrian. Like, why are you trying to fight? So he never was able to have the offspring that was going to be a fighter. So this dovetailing of having his original enemy become best friend, and then it was his son, and then he became the surrogate dad. That's why the passing of this torch was so beautiful, right? Because this was like, now your best friend is going to be the surrogate dad, and the dad, Apollo's gone, and Rocky was able to take what he would have gave to his son and move it there, which was a big storyline of Rocky 5, right? He's just like, you're giving, you're friends with Tommy too, huh? He took my room, right? He already had that family dynamic. So once that was out of the picture.
And then what's his name from Entourage is in there causing trouble?
Oh, that's right. He is in there.
What's his name in Entourage?
Not, who is it? It's slipping my mind. Not Turtle.
It's not
No,
Turtle.
It's not Turtle. Is that the scene when Paulie is right? And he's just like, hey, Rock, you need a hand? He's like, Paulie, it's not a pie eating contest. Damn, it's slipping my mind. JJ will find it and Google it. But I just like that he finally found a way to take all that he needed to pass that to somebody. He wanted to do what Mickey did for him. And he wanted to do it originally for his son, but he knew there was no chance. Then he went to Tommy, and Tommy wasn't the right person to do it. And now he has Adonis, and you were able to do that. And you saw that story. That's why that passing of that torch was so, to me, it was seamless.
Yeah.
It was absolutely seamless of going from Rocky to Creed. And even with your machete cut of jumping around, it's still a universe together. So, I'm a huge mark for it. And I'm definitely will see Creed again. We wanted to have Mike. He's going to dial in next week. Yeah. But Mike was texting.
We can talk about Creed again. I definitely want to see it again.
Yeah, he has he had some great takes.
Just got so great. And then again, right on top, we're right after Cocaine Bear, Ant-Man, all this stuff. We're in that year of the movies that we talked about last year.
Yeah, there's no stopping us.
We got
now.
John Wick dropping this week. It's just no Scream
then
John
this
Wick.
week, then John Wick. Yeah,
I don't even know.
You said it. It's coming fast, and
then
they're all
there's
great.
like other movies thrown in there that are getting no publicity, but they exist.
Oh, the movie with Woody Harrelson, Champions.
It's a Farrelly Brothers movie.
It looks great, but it looks like it's going to be a Farrelly Brothers with heart.
Well, yeah,
right.
That's what they always do. That's their gimmick.
But I mean, I when you say that, I think Kingpin. But I guess it did have some heart.
It had a lot of heart.
Yeah, you're right. Woody was in that one too. You're right. Yeah, he did. The Hook.
So there's just other stuff that's coming through.
That's unfortunately what I do think of first. But yeah, no, that movie actually looks really good, for sure. So I was just telling RJ that it's like now we're getting to where the movie drops are like double drops for the weekend.
Yeah.
So that's why it's going to be exciting when we have Rainbow on here and we start seeing the horror movie drops that are coming up. I think that'll be a fun spot. So you want to jump over to Mando real quick? Mando season 3, episode 2.
Yeah.
You want to jump to there?
Yeah.
It's still fresh because we just did a rewatch. You didn't finish it all the way through, but you got the gist of it.
Yeah.
You got the gist of it. It was still a lot of setup. But
it looks so great.
It
looks better than anything on Disney Plus. I don't know if it's the directing, which is this episode's directed by the DP who shot Black Panther.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No wonder it was so good.
So, it looks amazing. I feel like they're dumping the volume. I think they've realized the limits of the volume.
Yeah.
And they're going back to some old school, computer generated imagery.
And some and some other sets.
And some sets. And they do a nice mix. And what I noticed they do is they take the CGI and then they try to make it look like stop motion and stuff.
Oh yeah.
They give it an old pass and it looks good. I still think it's too shiny. It needs a little film grain, but it's awesome.
Yeah, because that like when you're I'm usually watching like in the morning, like that 4K really jumps jumps out at you. Yeah, it doesn't have that film grain at all, and that could be very distracting, like you're watching a documentary or something. But what I told you about when I was watching this, I loved those cave monsters. It really brings you back to the original Ralph McQuarrie art. But it brings you back to that old gritty sci-fi. Like this is something that you'd see in Doctor Who, Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, it was always a big eyeball in a jar.
I was telling you, Land of the Lost. Right. Like these guys totally should have been like Sleestack's enemies in Land of the Lost would be those cave dwellers. So I really do like that. Everything about it just feels so good. But I got to tell you, I'd be remiss. It's International Women's Day. But I was watching the watch along on Star Wars Theory, which is always great to watch. Even if I watch it the next day, I still go through and I pull that up.
Sync them up.
Man, Katie Sackhoff stole the show inadvertently, and it was literally just with a walk. Like when she was walking towards the cave, and everybody all of a sudden, it's kind of like when you're a kid, and when we were little boys. And then we all of a sudden, and we walk over and you look at a girl, and then all of a sudden you look at her completely different, and you realize, oh, hey, what's up? I had that happen with Katie Sackhoff in this. And, there's some people went really far with it of just like, the shipping and trying to put her with Ahsoka. And of course there was peach emojis and cake emojis and truck emojis. But hats off to booking her, because she was Bo-Katan in the animated series too. So it gave you that continuity of that voice. But it just goes to show that when you get like true actors in there, she was really embodying this character. And now you're seeing her embody it in real life. And she's really playing this up. Like I told you, I don't know if they're going to fall in love or if it's going to be a complete heel turn. I can't tell. But either way, I can't.
Well, she's a babyface, though, right?
Right, but remember in last week, she was kind of pissed off. She's like, I just want to be left alone, and she's in that castle by herself. This week, they went really heavy into this. She's like, I told you I want to be left alone. And then when the ship comes back after Mando gets captured by this Darth Maul eye-looking spider robot, and then sends Grogu, and he gets to use the Force, he gets to fly the ship, he's got R5-D4. And then she sees the ship come, and he's like, let's get rid of him once and for all. She said that before they went out there. And then she realized that it was Grogu. So they're really playing it. And then Grogu's still kind of looking at her like he's not sure. So now I'm thinking, wow, is he noticing that there might be a heel turn? Or is he being jealous? Now that your dad has a girlfriend, I'm not getting as much attention as I need to. But again, either direction they go is going to pay dividends.
Yeah.
So it's just really good. Man, Jon Favreau, again, let's say it. We had the short, did really well. Swingers saved Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because this is great. It's so cinematic. It's to the point where we were a little disappointed in Boba Fett, but rewatching this made me want to go back and watch Boba Fett and like give it the benefit of the doubt.
So what do you think of my theory that I was pitching earlier?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and tell you. Go ahead and I'll let you pitch your theory.
So, no, I have a theory that Book of Boba Fett, there's that one episode where it's all about Mando. Completely has nothing to do with the rest of the series. I really think that was probably just episode 1 of The Mandalorian that was already in production. And whoever's in charge at Disney, Bob Iger, I don't know who, Jon Favreau, probably took a look at the Book of Boba Fett and was like, this sucks. We need to put something in there that happens. How do we fix this? It's like, well, we've got episode 1 of Mandalorian. We could maybe just jam it in there as a bonus episode.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think you're right. And now that you say it, you're 100% right.
Can you imagine? Now, I want you to imagine Book of Boba Fett. You've seen this without that episode, and then you get to the finale, and then Mando just shows up. How terrible would that be?
Yeah, it would have been very awkward.
Yeah.
And people are still disappointed in that's how the reunion, after having such a heartfelt reunion with Luke, people are still, and you can tell Jon Favreau's doing some damage control, and I think that's what's actually making me think even more so. Like I buy into your theory, and I double down because of Jon Favreau trying to go out on interviews like, yeah, it's been 2 years. Like you can tell he's trying to retcon some of the stuff to make that actually make sense of why they did it the way they did it. Because that episode 1 of Mandalorian was great. But now thinking back, I feel like that was like a reshoot of the babyface run-in, and the actual episode 1 was that episode like you talked about.
Yeah.
That it was in there. Because really, besides those 2 episodes, and then that's when they talk about the living waters, and what's really doubling down on that is they keep referencing that episode. You know, when the armor's
there
doing
was
the
a lot of
speech,
story in that episode.
There was. So they keep going back.
Like that set up the entire 3rd season.
Right. And there's probably a lot of people who didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett when they watched the previously on The Mandalorian, and they see that. They're like, they have to be like, did I miss an episode? They have to be feeling
Is
that.
there anybody who's watching Mandalorian that didn't watch Book of Boba Fett? I don't think there's
I'm
that
guessing,
exists.
yeah, there's probably the
like I
answer
didn't
is
watch
no.
Andor, and I get that, but I feel like
this and Boba Fett got name dropped in this. They were back on Tatooine, a bigger, shinier Tatooine from the one that we saw in Book and Boba Fett. Like you said, they just had Tatooine Alley, and now Favreau gets the entire planet.
Literally, yeah.
But dude, I was going back when I was making a short, which is going to drop tomorrow, so double check our shorts based on Boba Fett. I went back and I rewatched that scene of the reintroduction of Boba Fett from The Mandalorian compared to what we got in that episode, and to a fault, that was too good compared to the rest of the Book of the Boba Fett season. Book of the Boba Fett. From the book of, so introducing him in Mandalorian, and then you'd put him next to Boba Fett we got in that series, you would think it was a different person in the armor. He was that Robert Rodriguez episode when he was just, they had the sniper pointed at Grogu, and then they were fighting, and then he gets his armor back, and it was like such a beautiful wrestling run-in.
Yeah.
I see why. It's light years different.
Yeah.
Of like who was handling that episode versus how it was being handled in the entire season.
I think that I think certain portions of the Marvel or Disney content has gotten real comfortable just shooting and trying to turn it into a movie.
Yeah.
Favreau is I think he's a writer by nature, so he wants the material to be there first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I've heard on Book of Boba Fett is they actually just thought of scenes, shot scenes, just to get it out so fast.
Yeah.
Because it came out a year after Mandalorian?
Yep.
They
were
were
a year to the date. Yeah.
They were just shooting scenes, and then they were going to put them together in editing. And they ended up with this weird mess of jumbled garbage.
Well, the good news is I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about it in a sense, and I think they're going to be a little forgiving. I think if they introduce Boba Fett,
nothing of consequence happened in it except the Mando episode.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Like there was no...
No, you're right.
It moved Star Wars forward in no particular way.
No,
And why the hell does Boba Fett never have his mask on? What? Like, I feel like that's like the absolute wrong decision.
Yeah.
Why is he he never wears his mask in the entire show.
You know, the irony is like people, after Boba Fett died, what everybody wanted, they wanted what they were getting out of the Mandalorian. They wanted that for Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And that's got to be kind of weird.
But that was always what it was. Wasn't Mandalorian almost like the Boba Fett substitute?
Yeah.
Right? That was filling our Boba Fett desires.
Yeah.
Is that right to say?
No, is that actually
But like, so
accurate.
it became that. Then you brought back the real Boba Fett, and I was like, oh, Pop, that's great. And then for some reason, you go in this weird direction with him where he's a peaceful guy who never wears his mask. And just, I don't even know.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting if they're going to just make him a part of the Mandalorian universe or if they're actually going to try to get a season 2. There was a rumor floating around of the Book of Boba Fett season 2 with Samuel L. Jackson coming back because you don't have to stay dead in Star Wars. That would be the only thing is that revenge tour. And that could be something, but you're going to have to raise the stakes. It's going to have to be highly emotional because now when I was 8 years old, I watched you chop my dad's head off. He's not going to be able to be peaceful Boba Fett. He's going to have to go to dark places before he comes out the other end.
Have you heard about Disney's new strategy going forward? The pods. Do you know about the pods?
No, I don't know
Okay, so, it's always been the way you do things that you're going to spin off a character and give them their own series.
Yep.
I think Disney is starting to realize that that's not working. So they're going forward with these like pod type shows where basically instead of one 8-episode series about one character, you're going to have these longer seasons with multiple characters, bigger stories, but you're going to release them in a different way. Instead of like an episode, a season of 8 weeks, you're going to release like 3 or 4 and then go off the air for, I don't know, a few months.
Really?
And then a few months later, you'll get 3 or 4.
No, I have not heard that. That would be interesting.
So that way, they're going to take what they're doing and stretch it across the full year.
Okay.
Instead of just 8 weeks out of the year, they'll have 3 or 4 shows, like every quarter. Every quarter they'd
have a couple of drops. I could see that. I mean,
I think it seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah, it could work. I like the going away and making you crave it a little bit for sure.
Yeah.
Because a year does feel like it's way too long. We're us growing up with different television, we were used for the summer break, so 3 or 4, and if that even felt like forever. Especially in sitcoms, people come back so like, wow, you're already so much older,
right? So yeah, they're going with something different. They're going to try. I think it's what Disney's got scientists back there. I think telling them what to make and how to release it.
I think officially their titles are Imagineers.
Imagineers.
They got
the Disney Imagineers coming up.
The Disney Imagineers.
Streaming changed everything, and now they're playing shows on streaming as if they were on regular TV. And like I think it was a novelty at first, and it's still cool. But now they need to kind of expand that because you're right. You have 2-year long gaps between shows. And it's just like people are going to cancel their account.
They're 100% going to. I mean, you have apps now that'll remind you, hey, you're not watching anything on here. You should probably pause it. And can they afford to take that pause? Especially Disney, because I mean, aren't they making their money pretty much on Marvel and Star Wars? That app anyway is there anything on that app that most people are watching outside of Marvel?
They also have the Turner and Hooch universe.
Oh yeah, the Turner. So that is a thing, right?
I think people tune in for that.
I think that and the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, that's probably one.
The Mighty Ducks that were brought there. There was a scoop. We'll just talk about Marvel really quick. That it is now official that John Bernthal is returning as the Punisher in Daredevil, which is another show coming back that's going to have an extended season. They're not just doing this isn't going to be an 8. I feel like it's like a 12-episode drop.
Good.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
But can you have Bernthal's Punisher?
Yeah.
I mean,
they just got to tone him down. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
I mean, he was unnecessarily harsh in that show, in my opinion.
Yeah, he didn't break in people's bones and then stab them.
A lot of bone breaking, just too much cursing, like a lot of violence. I mean, he's a weird character to have to deal with, especially in today's climate.
Yeah.
Sort of a conservative alt-right guy who rides in a van with a bunch of machine guns. It's like it's a weird guy, but I feel like they could do something with it because he does have a sense of justice and a moral code.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not going to be able to just machine gun people in public. He's going to have to be a little,
He can still, yeah, I agree. Thinking about when you first introduced him in that Daredevil season and that rooftop stuff between him and Charlie Cox.
Yeah.
Before any kind of violence, just the way John Bernthal carried himself was enough. You felt like this guy was a Punisher, was no joke.
But you know what Marvel will give us, which Marvel can give us, that Netflix would not.
What's that?
We're going to get the bodysuit.
Oh, yeah.
Get the full bodysuit,
Yeah.
Punisher bodysuit with the, silver boots ish. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Silver belt. We're gonna get the real deal.
And you're probably gonna get the new logo, which I didn't know the old logo. You told me, and I had this Punisher sweater. It's like I can't believe I didn't know that logo was hijacked.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was hijacked, and now Marvel got rid of it, and there's a new logo.
Yeah, so you'll
get the new logo too.
So that'll be good. I think they can do something with them. I think they can make it work.
I think so too.
All the cops have guns in the Marvel movies.
Yes,
you know
that's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah, I think it'll work. But I like the pod idea because it really got me thinking what you're talking about here. Do these characters that you already know have to have their own show now? Like
exactly, they don't.
The Punisher part of Daredevil was better than the Punisher standalone series.
Agreed. And Punisher and Daredevil is a great combo.
Yeah. And I think that's what with Iron Fist and Power Man, they were going to get to that point where they're going to be heroes for hire. Put them together. I was pretty psyched. I wanted to see Jessica. I know they had a intro Daredevil first, but I mean, if you would have just kept Jessica Jones and Daredevil as part of She-Hulk and just like that's the series, and they just decide flip a coin for who you're going to name it after, fine. What about Boba Fett? Like, does he need his own series now, or should they just tie him back into Mandalorian as his buddy that just keeps coming back every once in a while? He can be like, if Mando's Seinfeld, then Boba Fett's Kramer. And he just every once in a while comes
Shows
in,
up.
does some weird stuff, and then he leaves.
Does a run-in. And once you let him do some run-ins till he's over again, and then you can do Boba Fett season 2, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Podcast's going crazy.
Yes, I get it, because, I mean, yeah, she's all fired up over this. I am too.
Here's what I was thinking about as far as like doing the whole pod thing. Well, number one, I think it's gonna be sad because they're gonna bring back Barenthal. They're bringing back Charlie Cox. He's obviously back already.
Yeah.
Mike Coulter and the guy who played Iron Fist are not going to be invited, and that's a
bummer.
It's a bummer. But you know what? I don't think they'll be missed. But you know what? If you can tag Disney in this thing, I think you need to go ahead and reach out to Quentin Tarantino, let him take over and do Luke Cage and Iron Fist Hero for Hire.
God.
Do the full like that was like one of his early pitches was to do Luke Cage with Lawrence Fishburne, right?
Oh yes.
Just let him do it. Put it on Hulu, whatever, and do something with that. I just think that's going to be the best way to make that interesting again.
Oh yeah, and he doesn't even have to do it because he's only doing 10 films, but he didn't say he wasn't doing TV or plays or books.
Right, exactly.
Maybe he can just do
Maybe that's his secret project that he already wrote.
Yeah, man, that would. If Disney is concerned with losing subs, do this and you'll get all those subs back and then some. That's a great secret project. I'd love to see a Tarantino presents Hero for Hire.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lose it. So I think the pitch is now, well, because we know Deadpool is going to be somewhat of another reset of like with all this multiverse stuff going on. Deadpool is going to be kind of what they're promising the Flash movie is going to be. They're going to do... The rumor is they're going to do some time travel, and Wolverine's going to be facing other versions of Wolverine, and that's how they're going to introduce some of them, but not all of the X-Men. Some of them will be played by traditional characters, some will not. I think wait for that movie to be done, and then you have the perfect opportunity to start cherry picking who you want to come back and who you don't want to come back. I want to see Kristen Ritter back as Jessica Jones. I think she was great, but... Again, being the completist, I'd like to see all of them come back and not have to rebook any of them. But I also want to see who they can introduce new that's going to make it worthwhile. So wait till Deadpool resets the universe and then start cherry picking those pitches. I think that's the way to go.
Also, what's Deadpool is going to give us, Marvel is going to give us another thing that we've wanted for a while. We're going to get Wolverine in the suit.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get that for sure.
We're getting that for sure.
Finally, he's going to get that. He's going to be in that yellow suit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You think they'll go with the yellow suit or the orange suit?
I think they have to go with the yellow. I think they have to go with X-Men 97 version. Because they're relaunching that animated show, too. So I think once you see that, I think they're going to try to... They're going to try to keep it in that vein. At least one version of them, because apparently, again, that's just a rumor, so we can't corroborate this. But the rumor is he's playing multiple versions of Wolverine and consuming 6,000 calories a day.
I mean, he did that in the last Wolverine. He played multiple versions of Wolverine. Marvel, as you're not reinventing the wheel, but I do want to see it.
But it just showing like a true X-Men, because we kind of all popped, in Doctor Strange when. Professor X came out in the yellow wheelchair floating, like comic book accurate.
Yeah,
I thought that was a good.
We did, but I think those days are we're at the end of those days.
Yeah,
I think Marvel is in need of a reset. Obviously, their films still making a lot of money, but not as much as they used to. Mm-hmm. And It's like an Idiocracy when they stop selling the Brando and the guy's just on the screen. Is like the thing that makes money isn't making money anymore. We don't know what to do. And it's just like they have to do something and it's going to require just a reset in tone, a reset in like what they put out. Because it's been 33 movies. We're into it.
33 movies. What a run.
And they're in decline right now. They're just not making as much money as they used to.
Hell of a run.
Yeah.
Wait, and here's the thing. The next movie that's coming out is not the movie that's going to save him, but it could have been the movie that saved him. But this is James Gunn's farewell to that universe and a few different Guardians' farewell to that universe. So that's not going to be the movie that saves them. So what's next project can save them?
I tell you exactly what it is. I know.
Deadpool?
No. It's going to be the next Captain America.
You think that's going to...
The next Captain America, which is, to me, that's the... Out of all the films, right? Well, it's the one that deals with societal issues and, like, governmental things. Governmental things. But, like, it lays the groundwork for... how folks interact with the superheroes, what the government thinks of them. It's just, I think that when that movie comes out, that's going to really give us set the tone for what's coming next.
Okay.
And then that's going to lay down the rules and everyone else exists in those rules. You know?
That's fair. Yeah. And if you think about it, when some of their earlier movies were struggling too, like Thor, the Dark World, and even the first Captain America, it was Captain America, Winter Soldier when they felt like the game started to change.
Right. And then we got Civil War.
Yeah.
Civil War is even bigger than that one.
Yeah, and that was. And JJ said it right. The next Cap movie has to be really good. And they're starting a little bit in the red because there's going to be a lot of people that didn't watch Captain America and the Winter Soldier that are going to be figuring out why is Falcon wearing that.
I think people watched it. You don't think people watched it? I mean, that was.
I just think it was during Pandy. Like,
there was nothing else to watch. I feel like people watched it.
That's true. I feel like that.
And they came right behind WandaVision, so people were tuning in still.
Do you remember how Ravenous? That was our first show coverage for WandaVision.
One day we'll play that on the show, the original test pilot.
Yeah,
it's actually really good. And I look at stuff we did after that. It's like it got way worse. What happened?
It's that shiny polish we put on it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We want to take one more quick break, and then we'll have a go-home spot for... I got good news. Your boyfriends are here. Your dates are here.
Bad news is they're dead.
They're dead. BRB.
On all new releases at Rogers Video.
Hi, Video Sam's got exciting news for you. You can now rent a video overnight and hire these great movies from only 99 cents. But the best news is that by purchasing our special package plan, you can have this VCR absolutely free. Ring now, 892-3311 for details of this amazing offer. You could have a video at home tonight. Remember, 892-3311. Video Sam's libraries are convenient to you.
Movie tonight on video. Movie tonight on video.
You can rent a video player, too. There's a store near you, sweetheart.
Movie tonight on video.
They're helpful and friendly with films for the whole family.
Movie tonight on video. Movie tonight on video.
Boy, I'm bored.
Don't be bored. Join the party. Call 1-976-8888. There's a great time waiting for you right now. Meet new friends or just listen in. Everybody's doing it. So call 1-976-8888.
Where was that party?
So, what are you waiting for? Don't be left out on all the fun. Call right now, 1-976-8888. 88 cents per minute billed to your phone. Brought to you by Omegaphone.
Just like you, I was really skeptical about which one of the party lines is really the best. It's 1-976-BEST. It's easier than going to some singles bar. The phone's right there within your reach. And it's a real kick because you get started talking with everyone on the line right away. I got together with this guy I met on the Best Party line, and I'll tell you, it's fun, exciting, and the best way for you to meet someone new. The Best Party line. It's just a phone call away.
Do you sometimes sit alone, wishing for the perfect fantasy? Has love passed you by? Do you dream of encounters with a perfect mate? Or spending precious moments getting close to someone you could really love? For just 99 cents per minute, indulge your fantasy. It's live. Call 1-976-DATE now.
Oh, but we're going to have a sponsor soon.
Yes.
I can't reveal it yet, but we do have a sponsor in the works.
Yes, we do have a surprise coming soon. Just keep tuning in.
Both of you.
Yeah, keep tuning in. So, but yeah, let's go for our go-home spot. What we were just talking about is how much we are a fan of Terror Tuesday and Weird Wednesday, brought to you by the America Genre Film Archive, which a friend of mine in New York just like dropped it like everybody knew about it. I was like, oh, you know about them? He's like, oh, yeah, I love them. So I thought it was really cool. But last night, Terror Tuesday, you were hot off the plane and then had multiple shoots today to go to, but you still made time for a classic, even if you don't. But
I mean, I had to go. I just dig the vibe. Terror Tuesday, Weird Wednesday, still one of my favorite things when I moved to this town. Still one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's a cool energy when you go in there.
Yeah,
like both are Joe and then the other guy from Weird Wednesday. I only seen him once. They're just the way they present it, and you can tell they're just like huge film fans, and they set everything up perfectly. It's just great.
Yeah.
So I totally get, and it was Night of the Creeps. How can you say no to Night of the Creeps? For those who are not familiar with Night of the Creeps, check out this elevator pitch / log line that is officially from IMDb.com. Alien brain parasites entering humans through the mouth turn their host into a killing zombie. Some teenagers start to fight against them.
Yes, I'd like to see that. Do you know this is the guy that also did the Monster Squad?
No, that's is that Fred Decker?
Fred Decker, yeah.
Fred Decker, yeah. This was his this was his debut.
Yeah.
This was 86.
Off of this, he got the Monster Squad.
Look at this. This is, we're going to throw up the 4 horsemen symbol, not of the apocalypse, of professional wrestling, because Fred Decker, Night of the Creeps, the Monster Squad, RoboCop 3, and the Predator, the 2018 version. That's a pretty
Which I have no heat with.
No.
A lot of people have heat with, well, I have heat with the ending, but otherwise I thought it was all right.
Yeah. And then he was a writer on House, Ding Dong, You're Dead, if you're all about VHS. House 2, The Second Story, Ricochet, If Looks Could Kill. And then he has uncredited work with Demolition Man, Lethal Weapon 4, Titan AE. And then he had some other unproduced projects, Godzilla in 3D, Shadow Company, and Johnny Quest. That's a great
career.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about like getting into his TV stuff, where he wrote one of the episodes, Tales from the Crypt, The Thing from the Grave, Star Trek Enterprise. He wrote a couple of episodes in there. I mean, that's great. So when you told me Night of the Creeps, and like when you told me you were going, and like I would have been like the wolf, is like, that's 20 minutes away. I'll be there in 12. It was very tempting. There was that little part of me that I looked at the clock and like, can I make it?
Yeah.
But I feel like this film, everybody knows the GIF, and everybody knows the line that we said, the good news, your dates are here.
Yeah.
Bad news is they're dead.
Yeah.
This was also one of the films that I feel like it didn't do well in the box office, but it developed that cult following that
it's done really well since.
Yes, since
There's been
then,
countless
for sure.
releases of it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so Tom Atkins, isn't it? Just being so Tom Atkins.
Yeah.
Perfect. You can see why this is Darcy finds this man so attractive.
Yeah, she can't. Yeah, and she like. Of course, we like knew of him, like Halloween 3. That
always the drunkest guy in whatever department he works in. You know, and this movie is really stylish. It starts off, it starts off on an alien ship, and you've got tiny puppet aliens trying to like not let the creeps escape.
Yeah.
And then the creeps fall to Earth, lands on Earth, and we're in the 50s and it's black and white, and they've got the doo-wop music going, and we get and then there's an entire other thread of an escaped mental patient.
That's right. I forgot about
like that. It's there's a lot. It's really just a well-made, creative B movie, and they know they're in a B movie. They call it out.
Yeah.
You know, you've got characters in there. Cynthia Cronenberg is a character.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just a fun time. Like
the official pitch of it was an earnest attempt at a B movie and an homage to the genre. With the main plot of the film related to zombie, it also mixes in takes on slashers and alien invasion films. I mean, that's 86. There's a couple of time periods, and we've talked about this before, when we finally discover time travel. There's a couple of periods I want to go to. You know, I want to go to that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood time period for sure, right? Late 60s. I want to be just a fly on the wall. Check that out. I want to go to 80s, Brooklyn, like night, what's the club? You know what I'm talking about, right? The big
Studio 54?
Studio 54. I like to be a part of that and just see those. But I would stop in video stores at this time, because there's just something about 84 between that and 88, 89 that is just, I don't think we realized how magical of a time that was for film. And I'm not talking about theaters, because theaters were still going strong.
Yeah.
But just that feeling of going into those mom and pop video shops, like, Video Archives, which we're a huge fan. It just brings you back to those moments. Like, we all had that video store before Blockbuster. We all had it. Like, mine was attached to a gas station, and I would go get a slush puppy, literally the 3 squirts and then the pull of the ice. And then you would go in there, and it was just like a corner of the store. It looked exactly like Clerks. And you'd spend hours in there. You would just be browsing, and it was so cool. Think about all the boxes of the films that you love right now.
Well, before movies were like super affordable and you could just buy them immediately, they came in these gorgeous boxes.
Yes.
Right? And movies, if you wanted to buy a film on DVD, it was like $99 or something.
Yeah, it was super expensive. Yeah. So you would just rent it.
Yeah.
Or just get the 6-hour
Movies were so
SLP.
expensive, it was an investment. You had to spend $3,000 on 30 copies of whatever. Rent them out.
Yeah, and then just rent them out. And it was such a cool time. And it would be, when I'm time travel, I'm just browsing. I don't want to interfere. I respect the butterfly effect. I'm not going to create any variants or timelines or anything like that. I just want to look.
Can I ask you a question? If you time traveled back to one of these times,
yeah,
and you walked by a theater and there was a big movie playing there, let's say it was Star Wars. No, wait, 84. That's not right. Anyway, something big.
That was Rocky-ish times.
Let's say it was Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Rocky 3 was playing at the theater. You were visiting. Would you be willing to stand in line?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I would.
Yeah.
I just, again, to feel that experience.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the video store experience, but there was also a very different theatrical experience too. Like, I remember my very first multiplex, that it was such a big deal. Like, wow, how many screens are in there? You can see multiple movies? Because I remember going into the theaters that very much looked like the Paramount, that you were only getting like 2 movies. And, you would get lucky on the re-release. You didn't have all these options.
And they had the old school canny sound where it's just like 2 speakers in the front.
Yes, exactly. I remember vividly going into one of those theaters as a little kid and seeing Ghostbusters. It
was like super echoey.
Yeah. It was always had that weird echo, and I'm actually in my office. I'm trying to get that. I want those curtains. Like, you just want that experience. There was a different theatrical experience too. So I would 100% wait in line. I would sneak in like I used to when I was a kid, or just like the drive-in. I mean, like we're fans of the last drive-in and Blue Starlight in town. We did some stuff with them, but that was also a magical thing to just sit on these beach chairs and watch a double feature outside. And here's the thing about films then and films now. Back then, it really wasn't about the quality, as I'm talking about like the audio or visual quality. It was just about like, you're lucky to be watching a film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have no other options. You can't just watch this on your phone immediately.
No.
You have to be here, buy a ticket, show up, and plan it out.
Yeah.
To experience this film. And now it's just like it's emailed to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's so crazy. I was when I went with my son to watch them, and I did one of those like, oh, I'm having a dad moment. I'm like, do you know that people used to go to movie theaters and not know what they were going to see until they got there?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? How did they pick their seat? What did they? I was like, it was madness.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how did you even? I was like, if you were, your professional hack was, you look in the newspaper and then you find your time and then you go to that. And then you weren't guaranteed a seat, right?
Yeah.
You were lucky to just buy a ticket and then you try to get in there, wait in line.
You had to wait in line.
You had to pick your seat.
Line up for the seat. Hold the seats while somebody goes to get the snacks. Right. Everybody throws their coats on the seats and somebody goes to get the snacks.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing. And you'd always have like angry people showing up late. There's no seats together. You'd see them stomping around.
Yeah.
During the ending, as the credits are closing.
Oh, and there's no commercials. Remember just sitting there and staring at a blank screen before the movie started?
Oh, yeah. There was no Maria Menounos.
No. There was no newbie. There's nothing. No commercials. You were just literally staring at a screen. It happened at one screening I went, and there was like nothing playing, and I was just like, I got like a weird flashback. It's like, I remember doing this, but everybody else must be very taken back right now.
Yeah.
Like, what has happened? So when going back into those time periods, like a time travel or traveler, I would like to go see some of these smaller movies that I learned to love on VHS later and actually get to see them on big screen.
Well, that's why Alamo Drafthouse is great.
Right. And that's why
they played this movie on 35 millimeter, by the way.
That's what's awesome. Yeah. Something that we would have never gotten to experience.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of these films that definitely slipped through the cracks. Sometimes you got lucky. Like I remember in that multiplex going to see Return of the Living Dead and actually getting to see it on the big screen. But there's so many movies that you learn to love on VHS that I would have loved to have that original experience on the big screen.
Yeah.
And I think Night of the Creeps definitely falls into that bucket, especially like you said. Frederick, I mean, you think Monster Squad. I mean, you think 86, right? You think that time period. So I'm surprised it was so, I didn't realize they were so close together too.
Yeah.
And nothing really came from this, right? That was it, other than it's just a standalone movie. Like
Night of the Creeps, I don't think there's any sequels or spin-offs or anything.
Night of the Comet, Night of the Creeps.
They did play the trailer for Night of the Comet before Night of the Creeps. Yeah. And it's funny because that trailer is just, it's not like the movie at all. They're just selling it as like a teen comedy, like, I don't know what. It's like Clueless or something.
Yeah.
It's like, the world's ended. Party on. Let's go to the mall.
This is John.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was good. So, yeah, definitely if you're ever in Austin, especially if you're coming to our Dos Incredibles, spin-off film festival, definitely check out some Terror Tuesday, Weird Wednesday. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely glad you introduced me to that because after missing the original Alamo, I thought we were done. Like we were not going to get that cool stuff, but they're still plugging away at that Alamo South Lamar.
Yep.
So good stuff. All right, man. That was a go home spot. That was the thing. We did a thing. Appreciate you guys jumping in and playing along with us. And it was going to be a house show light because Mario was coming in hot. You've been spinning like a top for the past couple of weeks.
A little bit.
Yeah, so, but we have more great stuff coming up, like I said. So we have next week, we will have Geek Commander in the house, and we're going to have Mike B dial in, and we're going to be talking about Scream.
What is The Last of Us is ending?
And the season finale of Last of Us.
And Scream 6, which I'm hearing is like the best one.
Yeah, that's blowing my mind because that's a high bar. Then the week after that, yes, we're going to have JJ. He's going to be in studio with us.
JJ's back.
With Frankie from Long Island, and we're going to be doing top gritty cop movies. So I thought that was a cool genre. That was inspired by actually our friend Rainbow Fright. She did an awesome video on Bad Lieutenant, so definitely check her out on there. It was really good, and it just reminded me, like, wow, this is really good when you jump genres like that. And I forgot all about Bad Lieutenant. Like, you always knew the title.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert, that might be one of them. So, And then, like I said, we're going to have a Mandalorian back in the house and we're going to try to see if we can get Wikipedia Wayne, professional wrestler, in there too. I feel like that would be a good combo as well.
And Jesse the musician is coming back with his synthesizer next time.
You know, and Jesse, if you're watching, and we are going to be dropping a Jesse synth short.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming up too, that we spot to that. But yeah, we need our house band. Jesse's going to be the house band.
He said he wanted to come in and just play synth, and I said, no deal. You have to talk too. It's a podcast.
He has to talk, yeah. And he has his own podcast that's going to be coming up too. And he just sits there, and he's a star, and he's very modest about it. But he's just like, right now, he's like doing a concert somewhere in like the Northeast. Like I saw him like talking to us through our socials, but he was like en route to a concert. So it's good to have him around. So yeah, that's it. We got a lot of stuff. So we appreciate your guys' support. And yeah, that's a wrap. So we'll say, I don't even know what to say. What do we finish this on? Oh, no, finish it on, we need to do this. Why? So we prove we're not a mistake.